Welcome, everyone.
Hello.
This one's gonna be a bit different because, not unlike normal RPs, wrangling the group together is the biggest pain. So,
Mm,
today, it looks like it's gonna be me and Arcrat, just, role-playing out a bit more, backgroundy stuff, and hopefully next week everyone will not have life stuff come up.
yeah,
But until
yeah.
then, away we go. Um,
Mhm.
So, I am joined by the incomparable Arcrat.
Serious.
Listen, I don't know. But yeah, I am joined by Arcrat, and I am your host for whatever that's worth. I am Nick, uh, and I'm sure most of you watching this already know me. So, let's get started. Hmm.
Sorry, I'm sure you can hear my keyboard.
It's not the worst.
That's fair.
Very quiet. Almost
Hey,
ASMR.
kitty. Almost saying smart. Clackety clack, clackety clack, clackety clack.
Like,
It's amazing. Okay.
I own a very clunky mechanical keyboard that I love. Like when
Can you
I push
Megatron say nope?
buttons.
I've no. Can you Megatron say nope? I've no idea who. You wish you had no idea who I am. You're stuck with the knowledge of me.
Yep.
Um, for anyone who is actually like, I can see mostly friends in chat, but I think there's maybe one or two people who are
Oh yeah.
new. Hello, my name is Andrew. I'm known as Arcrat on Twitch and Twitter. I've just finished doing a full month of Monsters and Myth called May I Scare You, which was a load of horror reads. Had a really nice rap party today. Spoke about a lot of different things. Got some new information, so I've spent a mad dash like correcting some of it. And I'll do a stream tomorrow where I correct some stuff. Arcrat, are you a YouTuber or something? Get out, Wasby. No, I'm kidding.
All right. But yeah. So, I suppose we'll begin back where we left off.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes.
So, our
So unless you moved me about, I was at
I
the
have
dining
not.
table with the curator. Mm.
Mm-hmm. Oh, everything is as it was. We'll turn back the clock a little. While the rest are all going on their adventure,
Mm-hmm.
the acquisitionists shall embark on their own.
Mm. Yes. So I have obviously was sitting with the others, and when they carried on with what they were doing, I sort of, as soon as they turned away, was at the table. For those who were here, for those who were not here, the last time I was here, I had Jameson Spencer uh, was projecting a two forms of themselves simultaneously, and so while having a conversation with the curator, um, it became a case of those with the ability to understand temporal forms of transport and communication understood kind of what was happening, and the figure of Jameson Spencer, when you looked away from them, for those who understood them, sort of unfolded like a ribbon of sand. It was particularly unfortunate for one individual who had a form of echolocation in place, so got to hear everything in quadruple.
Yep.
So imagine a migraine,
Oh,
basically.
poor Sedge.
Poor Sedge, indeed, did not know what they were dealing with. But then again, so the one table and turned away, the figure of the archivist Spencer,
Mm.
Mr. Spencer, had disappeared. Um, me, was it Jameson Spencer or Spencer Jameson?
Uh,
S- Jameson Spencer, I think.
probably.
Yeah, Jameson Spencer seems right. We'll get that right if need be. I'll search my notes while we're doing this.
No worries.
So as they left the table, um, the figure of Spencer at disappeared and resided fully over by the curator. They were in conversation with.
I do apologize for taking your time from your new companions.
It's quite a ride. It's quite a ride. Perhaps they will last a bit longer than a few of the others.
Oh, here's hoping. The latest batch seems to have a bit more promise than most.
Yes, it's an intriguing lot. The doctor is capable,
Hmm.
but it is practically within their
A
circuitry.
deft-handed medic will come in great handy, I'm sure.
Hmm.
Especially for that poor Havelock fellow.
That is as predictable or unpredictable as ever, depending on your measure, which is fantastic.
And lacking the ability to die does certain things to the mind. I can't imagine
Undeath
it's
can-
particularly pleasant.
Undeath can be an interesting state, that's for sure.
Indeed.
Sedge.
Yes.
She knows. She knows.
She knows.
Where did you find her?
Ah, yes. Every now and then, people from her world's particular talents are called for. Highly in demand and an extremely superstitious lot.
Hmm.
They're very in tune with the strange that is this universe.
There is being in tune, there is understanding the supernatural, but I've never seen anyone be able to. What is the phrase that old racist used? Peer back the curtain. And thing down and stare out the window.
She's inside of the bookcase.
What's it? Just reading the side of the bookcase. Is
I
what does
think they're Roman numerals.
I'm glad you're paying attention, Wasby. There'll be a quiz. So yeah, so it's sort of the Spencer stares at sort of the curator a little longer, trying to doesn't get much. He understands the curator kind of has the poker face is defined by them, essentially.
Yeah, the curator's appearance is a little strange. It's never quite. It always seems a little blurry around the edges, but overall, they're a form that whoever is speaking to them is most comfortable with.
What does see?
Let's see. What does the acquisitionist see? I'm gonna go with a pretty standard human form, overall. Something about the curator, like, beyond the weird strangeness around their, like, the weird blurriness. They're very... The one thing that they never change, that, like, is always universal, pitch black spheres for eyes. No pupil, no sclera, no, you can't see, just pitch black spheres.
Interesting.
That is the one thing that never changes, no matter what form the curator seems to take on.
Oh, do they, when they are jovial, when they sort of laugh or smile or anything, is there a hint of a color? Is there like an emotion or mood that gets associated, or is it like looking into a void?
Picture... It seems to oscillate. Like, sometimes, most of the time, looking into, like, staring into the curator's eyes is ill-advised. It's one of those, it's one of those the void stares back types of deals. But when they're in a particularly interesting or jovial mood, you'd swear you see some sort of, like, nebulous clouds of just different colors in there, and they can be quite fascinating.
Hmm.
But generally, they're just a
Um,
very pearlescent sort of black.
the Spencer is familiar with don't look directly at it kind of scenarios.
Yup.
So while from the outside, it looks like they are looking at the creator. They have found a point at the sort of where the eyebrows and the bridge of the nose meet.
Yup.
They look directly at where whatever a nose is,
Hmm.
and the eyes, but they look like they're looking at them directly.
Hmm.
This is more for like shits and giggles. Like if they wanted, they would just look at their lapel or something. Because from
Oh, it's
past experience with the
yep.
curator, the curator knows people don't look at them in the face. I would imagine. Like,
The curator knows they unsettle people,
yeah, for
and
sure.
they're
And also
okay
like
with
the
that.
whole sort of like if you look at the eyes, you are doomed kind of thing.
Hmm. Oh yeah.
Mm. Yeah, this is totally a Spencer figures something out,
Yep.
and I'm like, oh, I can do this. It's totally cool, and he'll
Yep.
mess with people.
Also, yeah, I was about to say.
Uh,
Also, you've seen the curator lean into the creepy before.
yeah. It's fantastic.
Yep.
He's particularly delights in doing it with sort of new recruits.
Hmm.
Which he goes as well, sort of sipping another coffee, because one has just appeared. Um, I'm not going to be able to play my games on Sedge, am I?
Well. She's a particularly talented example of her species. It
Good.
may come across as. Eh, poor thing might get some sensory overload if you try, and it would not be optimal to damage the new recruit.
Sensory overload. Any other you're aware of? Depending on where we go, of course.
It really depends.
Okay.
Recruits
Okay.
from her planet before have been very keen sense have very keen senses, can find their way very well in darkness. Generally aren't on the back foot about things. They're
Of
difficult to
course.
take by surprise. It makes them extremely valuable acquisitionists.
But in the same way that if someone can see well in the dark, shining a torch at them might blind them.
They are
Having my-
prone to overloading.
The echo. So that's a weakness.
It can be. Something to be aware of and watch out for.
I wondered why they suffered a little when they were speaking to us at the table. I now realize what it was. Focus on me
A handy
at the
knack of
same
yours.
time. And for most, they cannot sense it, but if you can sense it, you'd better be prepared for an echo. Literal echo chambers are quite toxic enough.
Indeed, old friend.
On the subject of chambers, I am so sorry you wanted to go over some of the itinerary.
Oh,
if I remember.
Of course. But there's nothing wrong with enjoying a meal with a friend. But to business, I suppose. Tell me. That crystal that bears a particularly interesting resemblance to the Albion versions.
Oh, yes.
Yes, the one I had you gather from the temples in Persis.
It's not a fake, is it?
I certainly hope not. It has a very intriguing structure. The professor has been ecstatic.
Oh, good. That's usually the good litmus test.
Oh, yes.
A crystal that could mirror everything, that was able to be authentic, but only if you could tell its soul. I've never... When you told me we had to bring a chaplain, I thought vampires. Didn't think roadshow. But I guess, everything is different. So the professor is a static, that means it's genuine.
Oh, quite
Oh,
probably.
oh,
Hmm.
yes, they'll need to put a new cloth down every 48 hours. It
Oh.
needs something. Yes, it's part of the. I did tell the professor it's part of the riddle. You
Ah.
need to put the lightest of touch to hold the gravity of its majesty. Basically, if you let it sit on the floor, it will corrode through the floor and literally make its way to the center of the Earth or a collapsing star or whatever is at the center of the nebulous collection, which last I checked was either nothing or everything.
Oh.
And we don't want something going into essentially infinite.
Oh, yes. Things disappearing into the core of the collection would be tedious.
Very much
Very
so.
tedious.
Very much so. I really don't want to have to redecorate again.
Oh, yes. Ah, we've barely finished
Um,
cleaning up after the last time.
as I said, if you give Professor Whackback anything that smells like it could be used for punching and burning, he will use it.
A remarkably single-minded individual. I can see why the
Dexterous.
museum chose him.
Hmm. He lives up to his name and reputation.
Oh, most certainly.
So,
Hmm.
the precautions must be taken with it, but the
Hmm.
professor knows, and as does his assistant. Anything else to do with the crystal at all, or anything to do with any other artifacts that you?
I suppose while we're on the subject,
Hmm.
I've found something I found particularly intriguing
Hmm.
were the properties of the scroll you brought back.
Indeed.
Self-erasing. The ability to
Yeah.
write one's own prophecies. Such a tool must have been a great boon to the culture that created it.
Yes. An ironic artifact, no less.
Indeed.
You write your own prophecy, but you have to make sure you erase it correctly when you take the ink off, lest you erase yourself.
I do fear it similar to Havelock's book may have something of a hunger for knowledge and the souls of the uncareful.
That book, as best I can tell, will not touch the scroll for the minute, but
Oh.
I would monitor. It's smart enough to know not to destroy itself, but hunger doesn't have a mind.
That book
Of
is...
Havelock. Hmm.
Oh. The good scholar does their best to pretend otherwise, but that book is very intelligent.
Wondered which area of Havelock's Puncheons a little better than I do is of the archive. Does Havelock hate to go towards?
Judging from their habits, they don't seem particularly averse to anything eldritch. However, they tend to shy away from... how to word... cultures that may resemble the one they came from.
Perfect.
You know the type.
In that case, leave the scroll in the secure section with what personal information or family information you have with Havelock. Their culture, I'm wagering they don't want to go near anything on their family that they despise. Which, of course, the collection.
The collection.
They're not going to go anywhere.
The collection has a way of
Hmm.
bringing out old secrets.
Hmm.
But I think the safest place. At this point, they take out like a sort of take out what looks for all and purposes like just a 3-ring binder
Mm,
and just start like thumbing their way through it
the
and are just
dreaded Eldritch Filofax.
pretty much it's the only thing that's on the cover, like it's for being a 3-ring binder, it seems to be made of like weirdly nice materials, like actual leather and wood for the covers. The binder, the binding metal is all very nice, and the only
Ooh.
things written on the cover are the Nebulous Collection.
Yes, of course. It's made of wood. Is it discernible? Two things.
Mhm.
Is it discernible what type of wood? Is
Hmm.
there something about like does the cover move? Is it kind of alive or shift in any way?
You've seen this wood before. Um, you'd recognize that strange pearlescent sheen about the wood. Uh, think, think the trees in the color out of space.
Mm,
There's a sort of
yeah.
pearlescent sheen to it.
Nice. Knowing about this then, I look over at it, but I go back to the plate of food in front of me,
Mm-hmm.
because it's better not to looking at the cover is fine, but
Mm-hmm.
knowing kind of not to very like similar kind of like what's the word I'm looking for? When it comes to Havelock's book, like don't look in Havelock's book, don't go near Havelock's book. Similar
Yup.
thing with the Nebulous Collection. Yeah, it's like don't look in the Nebulous Collection unless you want to join it. Is the
Yup.
thing the new recruits get told. So yeah,
Pretty
so at that
much.
point, I have a very nice falafel in front of me now, so I'm just gonna dine into that with some hummus as well. So.
Yes. Exactly like a Nokia phone. Totally indestructible.
It's got that sheen. Lest you look upon Snake again. Deep, deep, deep.
But yeah, all right. So as the curator is thumbing through it, you see them like you see them like handwrite a few things with what looks like a quill and ink, although you don't see an inkwell anywhere.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, they just seem to be writing some things down, crossing something out, and just doing curator things.
Sure. Uh, I take a look around writing, like I've still got an eye, like I can hear the scribbling, so it's kind of
Hmm.
like I know that's going on.
Oh,
I take a
s-
mm,
right, small thing that you definitely
oh
notice. Uh,
yes.
curator has like plates of food, like I'm gonna go with yeah. They're eating light. If they're having a light lunch, like a light sandwich and a salad,
Hmm.
and maybe a like a glass of seltzer water, and you never see them eat. But the
Interesting.
food is definitely disappearing from their plate.
Hmm.
It is very strange.
Okay. 1 second. Keeping notes for this one. Curator is eating light lunch. Um, making a note of that.
Hmm.
Yes, this kills two birds with one stone,
What do you
which is
got?
what they would do. I ask them,
Hmm.
"What pray tell are you feeding?" While looking around the room a little, just to sort of see the curator and I know who may
Hmm.
have come in.
Oh well, being the curator, one eats for two.
As you were expecting. Or has your connection with your employee strengthened?
Hmm. Well, how to describe it? Hmm. As your colleague Havelock is a vessel for the intelligence of their book, I am merely a vessel for the will of the museum. My connection is
Mm,
simply far more direct than theirs.
mm, that's fair. Oh, in that case, with that in mind, without looking at the book,
Hmm.
do I hear noises akin to what I have heard from Havelock's tome?
Um, sort of. Havelock's
Hmm.
tome has this like whenever you have seen Havelock open it a couple of times, like you've seen Havelock drain knowledge from things, and it's never pretty. But whenever the book is open,
It's yeah.
there's this inherent like there's this macabre fascination to it. Like you need to know what's happening. Hello, welcome.
Hello. Apologies for my latitude.
Oh, no worries at all. All right, we can definitely factor you into this in just a moment.
I yeah, that
No
actually would
rush.
work quite nice.
Mm-hmm. All right,
To bring you up to speed. Also, hello, AK. It's lovely to be with you again.
Hello, Arcrat. Nice to see you.
To bring you up to speed, we are filling out the conversation that Spencer had with the curator separate of the table.
Okay.
So we're getting that done, and then that'll work quite nicely.
Indeed.
Yeah.
all right.
Sorry, Nick. Carry on.
Oh, not at all. All right. So whenever you've seen Havelock use the book, and it's been a couple of times.
Mhm.
Hell, sometimes when they see sometimes when you've seen them use the sidearm, even, there's this inherent like, there's an almost seductive quality to it with the book itself. It wants to have its knowledge looked at. It wants to seduce you into looking through it, to trying to trade knowledge for knowledge.
Yeah.
This so it's like constantly whispering secrets to you.
Mhm.
This book, um there's a presence about it that tells you like it knows an awful lot, but it doesn't seem interested in sharing. There's an almost not
Yeah.
repulsive, but like almost distracting. Even as you look at it, you kind of feel your attention just slide off of it.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. I would recognize, like, maybe not this specific incantation, but I know what this is, or I have a good idea of, like,
Mm.
essentially. Yeah. Would I recognize a protection designed to make you basically be like, this incredibly interesting thing is the least interesting thing to you. Go look elsewhere.
You've seen like in some of your travels, you've seen mages cook up similar stuff
Mm-hmm.
where it's literally like one time you remember working with a mage who did something very similar where like they brewed up a potion of what amounts to just boring. Like if that potion were a color, it would be beige. You just
Okay.
you just blend in, not
Yeah.
really noticeable.
Cool. Yeah. So perfectly fine. So
Like a
spent.
somebody else's problem field.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But looking at
Yeah.
this, it's a little stronger than that. It's not just like,
Mm.
someone can actively pay attention to someone under the effects of that spell, and it
Hmm.
will, like,
Yeah.
you get, but, like, you'll feel like you're watching paint dry. It's boring, but you can do it. This almost actively stops you from focusing on it. But it's so
Interesting.
organic, it feels like your own decision. And it's a little
Yeah.
weird.
So there's that moment where it's interesting because for yeah, they don't, like, Spencer doesn't know what this is. Spencer, as you say, like, is familiar with certain things, like that the Witcher stories kind of come because the
Mm-hmm.
sensations are same.
Yep.
But genuinely feels like is happy to kind of move with it and stops himself and then realizes kind of they've, as you say, like the feeling of being like slipping off a surface, and they're like,
Mm-hmm.
but doesn't press it,
Yep.
kind of like It's kind of like I would rather it be on that book than be anything else in the room.
Yep.
How it's
Hmm.
interacting, it's like that keeps us away from it.
Yeah.
That's good. Because he's not infallible.
Oh, of
And
course.
the right force getting into the collection can be as devastating to him as anything else. So
Mhm.
yeah, if the Nebulous collection itself is kind of has this effect, he's like,
It is both a protective measure as well as a defensive one, if that makes
yeah,
sense.
it
Protecting
is
itself,
the
but also others from it.
yeah, to
Mhm.
be totally like comic book thing. It is Batman's defense for his own mind, kind of.
Oh,
Yep.
yes. Yes. It's a
Exactly.
backup personality.
Yeah. Yeah, this sounds like me trying to read most books most time. I mean, Wasby, if you like commission me, I'll read all those books for you, so you don't have to.
Mood.
Okay, so that's cool. So yeah, so that's happening.
Mhm.
And they're having a look round the room to see. I can't remember what you said. I'm so sorry.
Hello,
if like, or was it,
Jackie.
Hello.
Mm.
did you describe kind of what was happening in the room at this time, or had we not reached that point yet?
What's going on in the room? I'd say this has been going on for a little bit, and everyone else has like gotten up and retired to their they're looking at you, they're looking at your echo now and then they all just kind of like collectively shrug and are like,
Yeah.
that acquirer doing acquirer things,
Yeah.
and just kind of move on.
Is there anybody in the room who is like brand new to this, has never seen that happen before?
I'd say most of the denizens of the Nebulous collection are familiar enough with you to know not to interact with you when you're busy.
Sure. Is there like a day one intern in this room? Is there?
Give me a
Because
sec.
you know where
Hold
I'm
on.
going with this.
Oh, I do. Give me a
Do
moment.
tell.
We shall let chance decide.
Sure.
Yes,
Please.
there is a day one intern, freshly minted.
Amazing. What is their name?
What about Jack?
Perfect. So, spotting them, turn back, and the echo of me turns to look Jack dead in the eye. And as they do, the eyes fade away like sand lost in time. And the whole echo moves toward and through them and goes, Jack.
This poor intern like looks at this strange man that apparates in front of them, watches their eyes just dissolve in a fucking like with this look of mounting a horror, and then like as you just walk through them, just like convulses and like goes and sits down at a table, just like
Yeah.
So
At which,
I love it.
yeah. At which point, like, Spencer pulls out a small pack of capsules from their pocket. And the curator knows what these are. These are essentially in the same way you can get motion sickness pills. These are eldritch sickness pills. So
Lovely.
basically, there's like a staff who like is like someone who is very like tired and has to look after this intern and is
Yup.
kind of knew that was coming and at the same time is fucking sick of the acquirer for doing that.
Yup.
Like Spencer hands them the pack and goes
Yep.
like two for the rest of the day as normal, and after they vomit and after they scream and after the other thing, 4 more, and they'll be fine in 2 days.
Yeah, and like meanwhile, this like the minder, the let's go with the head librarian for the
Oh no!
for the collection is just like
Oh no! I've revoked privileges of some part of the library.
poor Agnes is just glaring you down for a moment.
Agnes! Oh no!
And like
shit.
says nothing, just pushes their glasses up the bridge of their nose again and walks on towards the intern. and like is suddenly like looks very gentle and nurturing and is patting them on the back and now they're crying on her shoulder. You know, it's a scene you've seen many times before.
Yep. Yeah, and just sort of sit there and be like, didn't know it was Agnes's intern.
And in the
Oh,
back
well.
of your mind, you just feel, you just feel access to certain collections slipping
Yeah.
further away.
Yeah, quite literally, like,
Yup.
better ask Havelock or the doctor to go and get certain things. Oh, Sedge is new. They might.
I have to imagine Mulligan enters the scene with what out, chaps? Sorry I'm late, and with that, like, sees what's going on, and without breaking stride, just executes a very neat U-turn and heads back the way he came.
Perfect. Yup.
At which,
Gentlemen will not interrupt.
at which point, he's just like, I'll be but a moment. I'll be with you soon. Turning back to the curator, goes like, any more documents? Or
The
any
curator looks
new-
like. The curator sees the scene with Agnes and the intern and, like, turns to look at them and, like. You see them fighting it for a moment, but they crack a grin regardless. They're very like, I shouldn't be amused by this, but I am. And, then turns back to you and is like, nothing more jumps to mind. Rest assured, I'll be in touch. Ah, right, as I was saying earlier. And they finish scribbling in their book and close it. And they're like, I think I'll move the scroll to one of the more common sections, hidden in plain sight, as it were.
Marvelous. Right. I'll go and Whackbat. See how they're doing.
Best of luck. Get to know your team. Don't have too much fun.
Oh, I don't have fun until I get to know them a little bit first. Besides, if I'd tried that trick with Sedge, she would have kicked me where the sun don't shine.
Oh, she very probably would have shot you. Poor thing
up.
seems a little twitchy still. They'll settle in.
I hope so.
Or they'll
And,
go
set
stark
up.
raving mad. Who knows?
Sometimes that's a feature. And then get up, leave, and go to find Mulligan, like, because they were obviously just there a minute ago, so it goes off to find.
And the curator, for their part, is still just sitting there. Suddenly, there's just this, like, there's just a hookah set up for, like, 3 other people, just apparates in the center of the table. And, like, a few others, you, like, see, like, one of them is a literal fucking ghost, just sits down at the table.
Oh, Reginald, good to see you. Carry on.
They smile.
Reggie!
They smile that lovely Glasgow grin of theirs. The poor bastard.
Yeah.
So what happens when you have too much teeth, not enough mouth?
Yup.
So, head down. Go to look for Mulligan Whackbat wherever they may be.
All right. Let's jump ahead a little because Whackbat the Doctor and Havelock went on a bit of an adventure. So let's say it's the day after that. Yeah,
Oh,
actually.
in that case,
Time is strange, and in the time it takes you to find them, they've gone on their adventure.
It's a rest cycle later, we can say.
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. So, so I go to where would you be at this moment in time, Professor Whackbat? Where?
Well, in all likelihood, it had been heading to your location to sort of do some research and catch up with things, but seeing that things were a bit occupied, kind of, I imagine would have simply taken a circuit, sort of like, well, I still need to do these things, but circumstances seem to be a little iffy, so I'm gonna just do a half-kilometer jog, do my afternoon constitutional. Got to
Amazing.
keep the blood flowing,
Of course.
things like
Okay.
that. So he is
With
probably
that-
in the area, just sort of circuiting the halls.
Lovely. So with that in mind, I find a nearby seat or bench, which I know they're bound to pass in their constitutional, and just kind of wait, knowing that they're going to pass by.
Certainly, certainly.
All right.
So at some point in my circuit, then I will notice that you have finished with whatever that business was. I imagine it's not the first time that I've seen it, but Lord knows I don't have the vocabulary to properly describe it. But
Mhm.
Lord makes all
Yeah.
kinds.
Indeed.
So I will slow my roll, as it were, and tip my hat. And good afternoon, Spencer. I trust you are finished with your business then.
Indeed, Professor. We have. It was a good conversation. I may have lost library privileges, but I think it was worth it.
I can't imagine old Agnes was pleased with the show there, but I'm sure she's seen far worse.
And that's the problem, is she banned us for 2 weeks from tomes last time. I dread what she's going to do this time.
Oh dear.
What can I help you with?
Well, we have been conducting our own independent avenues of research on the Albion culture and the Dream Titans and the materials, we'll say, of that far-flung world. And obviously, I did my leg on a bit of materials research, and between Havelock and the Doctor, we found some very interesting treatises on the culture of the people there. But we're looking for other avenues of discovery there. Want to make sure we're walking in with all of our bases covered, as it were. I've certainly never been to this Albion, and from what I understand, it doesn't sound like anyone else has any more familiarity with it than I do.
Albion.
You've definitely heard it mentioned in your travels.
I will remark, for whatever it's worth, that it is curious. The name of the world mirrors a archaic term for Old England, that though is no longer in common use in Upper Londinium, is still nevertheless bears some thousands of years ago we sprang from the city of Albion. So there is a mythology tied to that, and maybe a coincidence, but that does not elude my notice.
I am familiar with it somewhat, but it's been a while. We need to go and get certain items. And as it happens, we may need to go to one or two of the libraries. So, if you wouldn't mind, I will. Let's see. Would I know precisely where or have an idea of who I need to see in order to get the information I need for this?
If you want to research Albion some more,
Well, it's kind of like so it's like you can tell them about. So I guess that's the question: is like, did I go there directly, or did I organize a party of people to go there?
You more or less, you in your travels have you're seasoned enough to know to keep an ear open when you go to a new place, and you've heard legends and stories of places called Albion, and once or twice you saw people peddling this glowing blue weird fucking potion looking thing that you've seen a dime a dozen. At the time, maybe you thought it was just a dime a dozen snake oil salesman.
Snake oil.
Yep.
Enhances the male virility.
Yep. Invaluable to invalids and weak persons.
No, yeah.
Enhances frail constitutions.
Yep. Step right up, get a fresh bottle of Dickerson's famous Bovril. God. Anyway, but yeah, fucking yeah, you've seen every now and then when you go to a place, and it's a little weird because it's in different places. People will be peddling this strange glowing, like, potion or like a solid poultice style powder. From the legendary sands of Albion, and like it seemed like a bunch of bullshit at the time. So you've heard it mentioned in passing,
Yeah, for
just
sure.
not in a constructive way.
With that in mind, sort of say to the Wombat, we will definitely need to gain some understanding, partly to cement a couple of things, but also to actually what's bullshit, because there is a lot about this that was along the journey. I can tell you that there are a few of these artifacts. They an ability about them, and trust me, sentence will be weird to hear even for you. We will need to bring a soft, fluffy towel.
Very well. Hmm. Fluffy.
So, we, with the fact that I might have difficulty going into the library, would you mind as well I go and raid the hospitality wing and set
Of
off
course not.
and set off to go and get a towel?
Question. Am I on decent terms with Agnes?
Yes.
Oh shit!
Um,
Oh thank God.
I mean, Havelock is on incredibly good terms with Agnes, but like
Mhm.
you're like you haven't pissed off Agnes. I mean, there was that one time you almost burned down an entire shelf.
I am
But-
not in the habit of book burning.
Yeah, it's like it was an accident, even if it was
Mhm.
an unfortunate one.
My guess would be it was less any direct action on my part so much as often happens, I forgot that part of me was on fire and I happened to bump a shelf.
Yeah,
That was a little drier than it maybe should have been, and
Yeah, it was.
mayhaps
just-
nothing was destroyed, but a few things got some crispy edges to them.
Yeah, some of the books are a little. Some of the pages in the books are a little crisper than they were once, but you know, it's
Mhm,
nothing.
mhm.
Nothing seemed damaged irreparably, so you know, Agnes let you live.
Absolutely. Well, and I certainly do not attempt to deflect the blame. A gentleman owns up to his mistakes. And since then, I have been more vigilant about checking to see whether or not I am on fire.
Yep. All right. But yeah, you and Agnes are on good terms. And
Very
you've
good.
made yourself more than a little helpful to like researches and like different like you're a veritable database of material properties, and Agnes has had use for that on more than one occasion.
Certainly.
All right. So, where to?
Yeah. Without causing shenanigans, I go to find somebody. Yeah, let's do this. I go to get a towel.
Okay.
But I'm also going to stop in
Mhm.
to see the professor who has been working with the last Albion crystal.
Okay, cool. All right. So, Professor Harlow is.
Harlow. Okay.
Please make notes of this. I am making up these names and I will forget them.
Yes.
Thank you. Professor Harlow is a very like most people. No. Professor Harlow is utterly unlike anyone else in the collection.
Hmm.
Specifically in that everyone else is like a very everyone else is usually an eccentric with a lot of weird hobbies or habits that would lead to them getting it. You can think of no particular reason why the Nebulous Collection would ever call someone like Harlow here. He is an extremely buttoned down research scientist and like just like an utterly average in all ways person, except they're just pretty
He's
intelligent.
white bread middle management.
Yup, he is white bread middle management.
Oh God. Middle management. Okay, hold on.
Bit of a starched shirt, isn't he?
Oh yes, like he's a bit stuffy sometimes. And he just like he seems.
But he's so irrepressibly dull.
Yeah, like.
But what can I have a solid conversation with him? The weather? The state of his hair? How is the wife and kids? If he has any? Are there 1.5 of them? Because that is the correct atomic number?
Yeah, he's like looking at to look at this man is to look at someone to whom the world makes sense because they have like their full collection of National Geographic all alphabetized on their shelves with their white picket fence and their 2.5 kids.
Oh, I know.
without meaning to be rude, because a gentleman is not needlessly rude, but privately, Whackbat does not care for this gentleman.
Uh-huh.
I will bet.
He is neither refined enough to be a proper gentleman nor uncouth enough to be a true adventurer. He is a very comfortable, very dull middle ground between both of these extremes.
Mm-hmm.
I have no means of relating to this gentleman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For all that, they're friendly, if a little boring.
Certainly, and I will not be pointlessly rude.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome, Kitty. I hope you're enjoying this as much as I am.
So with this in mind, knowing it's kind of like, I don't want to see this person. I don't want to see this person. I don't want to see this person. Hello, Dr. Harlow. How goes it?
Yes. Hello. Hello. And he's like visually or like just visibly struggling to remember your name.
Right.
Like apparently unaware of the fact that it constantly changes.
Yeah, for sure. It's like it's quite all right, Doctor. You work quite hard. Small things escape. Now,
so nice to talk to someone who understands.
Indeed. You've been working on the Albion crystal, I believe.
Oh, yes.
What can you tell me about it?
Oh, it's been quite fascinating, you see. And just like
Indeed.
I don't know that I have the steam to launch through like a tirade about its physical properties and like
it's like
I'll try.
I can tell you that Mulligan is completely ignoring anything that comes out of Dr. Harlow's mouth in favor of staring at that crystal like a goddamn cat. Because that crystal is 10,000 times more interesting than anything he has to say. So it's fine for you to sort of fill in whatever gibberish because Mulligan will not pay attention.
For like, it's up to you whether you want to do it or like if you're feeling it a bit sort of out of sorts on it. What are you could just tell us like what are the key things that Spencer picks up on in amongst the sort of chaff.
He goes on a pretty long-winded explanation of its many properties. Like, you know, it's withstood all of our attempts at like any sort of pressure. Like it does not yield under any sort of crushing pressure. It doesn't seem to fracture. And one thing it does do very interestingly, and at this point, I think even Mulligan would who's already staring at the crystal, would definitely notice, is they take a tuning fork and strike the crystal. And it causes a serious resonant reaction.
Ooh.
And like...
Tell me more.
Oh yeah, and no joke, the tuning fork itself fucking just powders after it builds to a bit of a crescendo.
Mulligan will start clapping at that. Just like, good show. Good job. Yes, fascinating. Yes.
I very quickly ask Harlow
Hmm?
if it could do that.
It seems to resonate at this specific frequency, and according to our understanding of science, and well, it's just another.
I grab his collar and go like, a date.
A-
When was the first time you did that experiment
I-
and discovered it did that?
A date? What? I. And they
Breathe.
just seem very.
Breathe, man.
Yes.
Where are your notes?
No notes. Yes, they're over that table there. Yes.
I pick up the notes, I go from the back, and I go through to find out when the tuning fork test was done for the first time.
Um. y- Let's see. About two. I keep wanting to say days, but like day and night has no meaning here. 2 cycles ago.
2 cycles ago, okay.
Not just it'd been like at it for a little while. With just
Sure,
experiments on the
it's more
thing.
breakthrough of it then?
Yeah, like they were examining it, and something about the structure seemed a little odd.
Mm.
And you see them like writing in things like, "No, that's impossible. It must have been a mis." Dr. Harlow, while fastidious in gathering details, is quick to dismiss things they don't understand as mistakes of the instruments.
Very, very.
Yup.
So is there another tuning fork in the room?
Yeah, there's an entire like you do see that they have like an entire rack of this specific pitch tuning fork.
Cool. I pick up a tuning fork
Mm-hmm.
and I say, Professor Whackbat, if
Yes.
you would be so kind as to Professor Harlow, when was the
yes?
last time you had a break?
I suppose it has been rather a while, hasn't it?
You're looking very tired, my dear.
Aye.
I would.
Yes, burning the candle at both ends, truly.
Yes,
Miss, Professor Whitebat, if you could
Mhm.
escort our friend here, just take them to the canteen, like get them some food and a coffee, and I'll hold down the fort here. If anyone comes in, I'll let them know where you are, Professor Harlow. But get some food or get some rest in you, sir. You are
I
looking
suppose.
so famished.
I
Mulligan
suppose
is
I could do with some
torn.
food.
Well,
Yup.
Mulligan is
I-
torn because I can tell that you
Yes.
are planning something, and I fully trust whatever you intend to do to be
Yes.
far more interesting than whatever Harlow has been doing with this.
Mm.
But the idea of leaving this crystal, I have not had the opportunity to like examine or test this or do anything with it, and
Oh no!
I have to like tear myself away. So
I see your struggle and I realize, and I was like, I can't do that to him. So it's like, Professor Harlow,
Yes.
would you mind? You know where the canteen is, don't you?
Oh, of course. Yes.
No
just
problem
please-
at all. I would. I'll be very gentle. I absolutely will not touch anything in the room,
Oh,
and I will.
thank you. It would.
not. Yes. It's like go and get you something. See you in about. Take 15 minutes.
Okay. I'll go do that.
Mhm.
God, yes, he's absolutely the type of person to wear Hawaiian shirts on vacation. Yes.
So, with this in mind, I say to Professor Whitebat, so
Mhm, mhm.
make sure the door is secure, and don't stand near any liquids or glass, because this is about to go potentially sideways. Can I just check?
Oh.
Professor Whitebat, are you
Yes.
one of the ones who can see when I do my echo, like my temporal thing?
No,
Okay,
I do not.
I was
have
about
that
to say,
expertise.
At this
you-
moment,
Mm,
sort of picture like a flower, like it sort of looks like a flower blooming, except it's a
Mhm.
doorknob coming out of the wall,
uh-oh.
and
Okay.
out of
Uh-oh.
it grows in, and wasp. God damn it!
Myself and my wine
I
should are
should've-
offended.
Offended, I say.
Offended.
Anyway.
A honk wine shirt.
Yep. All right. But yeah, the so and just out of it stumbles a very drowsy-looking Havelock, like wearing a robe and slippers, and just
Oh,
looking
right, got you,
exhausted.
got you.
Oh, just
And
like,
then
oh, good where am I?
I'm going to very quickly and politely place him somewhere that is, or place them somewhere that is out of harm's way, where
Yeah.
where they can sit down.
Good
Yeah,
morning.
it's
Hello.
like, yeah, you've materialized in Harlow's lab, but I presume you've come here because I need a second spot.
You are
Harlow.
exactly where you need to be, but I will take you out of harm's way.
Indeed.
Harlow. They're the one that pretends I don't exist. Oh,
Yes,
that one. Yes.
Has Harlow left the room?
So
Yeah,
to bring
Harlow
you up
left
to
the room.
speed-
Oh, that prat!
So to bring you up to speed,
Yes?
Havelock.
Hmm?
Apparently, Harlow has actually done something of use.
Oh, wow.
To let that sink in.
That is. And
Pause for
Havelock
effect.
pulls a
Yes.
flask out of their robe and
Yes.
takes a pull. Well, oh, isn't that a red letter day?
Yes. They have discovered the tuning fork to this, and I demonstrate exactly what happened with Harlow again with the tuning fork.
Fun fact. When you do it, there seems to be an echo of sorts.
Yes, absolutely.
Hmm.
That's where I'm going with this. So Havelock's smart enough to put 2 and 2 together very quickly in this one, right?
Havelock is staring at the exact center distance between you and your echo so that he can watch both.
Oh no, I've not done it with an echo yet. I've just done
Oh.
it with I've just done it as me to demonstrate what happens to the tuning fork. But that's exactly where I'm going.
Oh, yeah.
But
I would say this
it's like-
happens even when you don't have your echo out.
oh, interesting. So I then say to Havelock is like, I'm gonna do this with more than just one additional.
Oh, fun.
Recommend that you and Professor Whackbat.
Havelock looks
Stay
around,
somewhere.
finds anything that looks even vaguely fragile, and steps away from it.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, this is what I'm saying to him is like, either make a window that you can look through the door while it is still solid, or perhaps go back through the other door that you came through. Both of you can watch from behind there in relative safety.
we can. And yeah, that door is still open, and you see it open
Mhm.
into what looks sort of like a study library.
Yeah.
And it's just cluttered with one desk is just covered in like paper. It's weird. There are 2 desks. There's one very comfortable swiveling chair between them. And there's like shelves on each side of the room that the desks are facing. One is all like occult artifacts, and the other looks like an alchemist and a chemist. Just those
Mm.
workstations had a child, and that is the other desk, and that is Havelock's study.
Yeah, so basically like sort of implying that like get behind a door and just make almost like a blast view
Oh yeah,
thing in it so that you can see what I'm about to do.
Yep.
I'm
well.
donning a welding mask.
Nice, perfect.
Havelock,
Okay, so I wait
so-
for the 2 of them to I wait for Havelock and Whackback to get to whatever they presume to be safe.
Yep.
And
Havelock
then-
has a much further idea of what is safe.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then, so having had the one tuning fork,
Mm-hmm.
you watch, and it takes a moment. Havelock can see this, of course, and Mulligan can't. So what happens is, and it's you know what's happening, Whackbat, but you also have to make sense of it. Is that Havelock picks up one tuning fork from the deck. In doing so, 3 more appear to just disappear.
Oh, fun.
What Havelock sees is 3 echoes take a tuning fork each. So there are 4 Spencers with 4 tuning forks.
Havelock is
And they
back
eat-
to their childish, enthusiastic grin
Yes.
as they're watching this unfold.
Because they can work simultaneously, the tuning forks all touch the Albion crystal at the same time. And what happens?
All right. What happened the first time was it was actually a rather pleasant note that just built into itself before resonating.
Mm-hmm.
This time, Uh, do you have any particular like Eldritch Sense stuff?
Good question. Good question.
Like in the sense of like, not in the like, oh, are your senses particularly sharp, but in like the, do you hear whispers that most people wouldn't type deal? That sort of thing.
Sure. Would they? Actually,
Yeah.
they are. So, if they are, yeah, if they are eldritch in nature,
Mhm.
the first thing that it's almost like a reflex.
Mhm.
They pull out, and I like on hand. They take out a case,
Okay.
the eldritch pills that they gave
Yup.
for Jack earlier, and pop to immediately. And then kind of just close their and kind of like keep their eyes on the crystal
Yup.
and just breathe steadily, knowing that like it's gonna go one of 3 different ways, and just kind of riding it out.
Yup. All right. So, what happens is, the crystal starts to resonate. And last time it was a clear, crisp note. This time, Whackbat, you hear the vaguest sense of like, you get almost like a whisper in your ear. But it's not words you can understand, and it's very mild. Like, you have to convince yourself that it's there. And it's gone very briefly. Or it's gone very quickly. Havelock is, like, on the ground, on their knees, covering their ears, looking like they're in fucking agony.
Interesting.
And you see... We'll get to what's going on with Havelock in a moment. Arkrat, for you, for the good, for our dear acquisitionist, let's see. The pills help and are a good idea, because at what starts out as little whispers, start growing into this cacophonous riot of just voices screaming over each other to be heard. And it's bad.
Yeah.
It's real bad.
Yeah. Yep, as you would expect. And this is going to sting as well. Effect is of sort of these like echoes building up, these screams, these writhing noises, and 2 seconds after the sort of starts, vomits.
Yep.
Hard onto the floor.
Yep.
Avoids stares straight down, so avoids Albion, but of course the sound of their vomiting is now echoing around their fucking head as well, because that's how it works.
That's not great.
Yeah, so it's kind of like carries on for a minute unabated, continues to look just because can't look away.
Yep.
This is the equivalent of going through don't try this at home, anyone. This is the equivalent of staying awake while your body wants to faint.
Yeah.
It's riding a faint, which, as someone who's done big,
Sounds
I was watching
unpleasant.
a movie and genuinely it's describe it one day, but I will not.
I hear ya.
Yeah, but so it was so basically they carry on looking, just waiting for the moment it subsides.
Yep. Blessedly, mercifully.
Yes.
As it reaches what would be for most just this sanity shattering crescendo, the forks finally fucking disintegrate.
Fantastic.
And yeah, Havelock, for their part, if anyone was looking at them, the marks on them, the tattoos, they were starting to glow much more intensely and seem to be vibrating in tune with the resonance of it for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
almost like and then when it finally dies down, they just collapse drenched in sweat.
That sounds
Hello.
about right.
Yeah. Avlok was just like, Jameson, please never do that again. Oh,
Sort of going.
yep.
Havelock, never let me do that again.
Yep.
And it's just kind of
Ugh.
it's basically like immediately grab a towel, cover
Yeah.
the damn thing, and then go to and like, where is best for this fucking thing to stay?
Somewhere. Avlok's like thinking about Avlok's just thinking about it for a second, and it's like somewhere quiet.
I
This
have
thing
a hazardous materials locker.
that
And then yeah, like
that would be good.
for now, will that be
Oh.
enough?
Oh, my head.
Long term, no, but
Yeah.
it will stop any. It shouldn't preclude any immediate effects
Yeah.
further than
Good.
that.
That's
think
good
we
enough for
should-
me.
We should keep noise
Lead
away
on.
from it for a while. And Havelock's nose is like pouring blood now.
He-
It's bad.
He, very very quickly, like shaking a little. Spencer hands the remainder of the pills to Havelock. and he's
Havelock's like, the last time I took one of those, my body literally tried to turn inside out.
Oh,
I just
Did
have
it
to
help?
ride the. I wish. No, the book just yelled at me for several hours. I
Oh,
mean,
right,
I
right,
felt
right, the
I
connection.
felt out of sorts. Yes, out of sorts.
Indeed.
That
Right.
seems a polite way of putting it.
Professor Whackbat, before his Lord of Boredom returns, let's get out of here.
Yes. And Havelock's like just
Oh,
looks
yes,
looks
gotta
down at him.
ask.
Hmm?
Because I saw that, how much of the room is in like shattered pieces? Like that
Oh,
noise,
yeah.
but
Weirdly enough, as it reached its crescendo, all of the glass spiderwebbed, but nothing shattered.
ah, very good. Very good. Okay. Right. Yeah. We carry on.
Although-
to
And as you're walking out, you'd swear you're seeing the spider webbing starting to fix itself.
retract. Interesting. Okay.
Mulligan is trying to suppress his urge to hit that.
Yeah.
So he does that every time.
Yeah.
I have in a towel. I have it in the towel.
Mhm.
The Albion crystal.
Yep.
Looking at it again, is there any discernible change to it at all after that little experiment?
After to the crystal itself?
Yes.
Yes. It's it seems to have changed color. Before it looked almost like diamond or some kind of like very clear glass. Now
Yes.
now it has looks a lot more like a ruby.
Oh. Right, we'll head on and I'll wait for Havelock to recover before I start asking any questions.
Havelock, you see Havelock like looks down at themselves and just like wipes their nose with the back of their head. There's just blood, and they look down at their torso and like their chin is just covered in blood, and they're like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
for sure.
like,
Oh, Havelock, not Havelock. Spencer pulls out another thing, but it's just a basic first aid kit and offers
Yep.
him like some ibuprofen.
oh, yeah." And Havelock, you see Havelock like eye it suspiciously, then pop a couple, and then is like, "All right, I need to clean blood. I'll meet you at a few minutes." And you see
Fine,
them retreat
yes.
back through their door.
Yes. Brilliant. Cool. I'm following Professor Whackbat because I know where the office is, but it's always safest following them to get to the bloody thing.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep.
So my laboratory has a couple of we'll call it levels to it.
Oh god.
Oh, and they are
It's the fucking box from Hellraiser. Shit.
Yes.
the main floor of it, I think, could be likened to like a firing range, where there's just it's mostly large and open, and there's just scorch marks, all scattered about. And on first entrance, you sort of give them a look like, seriously, it's gonna be safe here. Like,
Yo.
one moment. And there is a latch, a hidden latch that I open up that essentially opens up a essentially a hidden staircase at the far side of the laboratory. Uh, this is something that I had to do a few favors on behalf of the library to earn, but I find it has been a valuable asset for both Eudora's and my research. This is a small little spiral staircase that goes down what feels like a couple of stories. And as it does so, the air kind of grows cold and the walls kind of grow more stony. And this is essentially a containment vault.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
So
Yeah.
got like one of those big circular handles, like what you'd find on a submarine, to sort of release the pressure valves, and swings that open, and you essentially have what looks like a small bank vault.
Oh, fantastic.
This
That's
is
so cool.
the containment bay for various hazardous materials. It is temperature controlled. It is sealed from any sort of seismic or spatial activity would be the word for it. And
Yes.
I would be hard pressed to do anything in here, any significant damage. As a practical matter, you could probably sleep in here and couldn't hear so much as a cannon going off in the next room.
We might
So if
test
it'll
that.
be safe anywhere, it should be safe here.
Yes, we'll test that in the future. But for now, do you recommend? You said you had a container within here that would be worth putting it, like a hazardous container.
Yes.
Let's.
So what I've essentially got is, well, it looks like a very large bell jar. You have a big glass sort of case to it. That's within like a small like a subsection of this vault. And anything that's in here is essentially, what do you call it? It's, you know how temperature works by moving molecules. Essentially, heat is created by motion. It's how, and so as temperatures approach absolute zero, things are slower. And so this is sort of a form of refrigeration, in a sense that like it doesn't cool the object per se, but it slows the motion of its molecules, which would naturally protect from sort of a resonant frequencies, such as what this object is capable of.
Yeah, I like that. Perfect. Okay. Following Professor Whackbat's lead to the letter in here, I go to wherever they point, and I towel-covered Albion. Oh, actually, yeah. I turn to them and go like, "Is there anything in here that is soft, not lose structure easily?"
Something tells me you're looking for something more resilient than a bear pelt.
Good. We could put the towel on that, and that's additional fur. But really, just something that you know, when they bring stuff in, and it's kind of like it never. It's furs or soft things that never degrade, and then someone gets a hold of it and turns it into their freaking coat for the next 3 months. anything like that we could put this on. Really, it it will eventually resonate, it seems, through the molecules and through the molecules of floors which are cold or non-insulated.
Interesting. So we need a sort of a super insulator.
Yes, Harlow's lab almost lost the floor where that thing sat. We had to keep changing towels over. I assumed it was acidic, I assumed that touch with with metals of some kind triggered a reaction.
Sure, acidity would be a natural thing to assume from that sort of reaction.
However, it appears that based on what is going on, that there is something more at play with the sound, with the echoes of this thing. And
Interesting.
I'm worried that it appears something that would dampen sound. It won't allow it to reverberate.
You know, my lab does have a substantial amount of soundproofing. I may be able to simply extract a few pieces of the soundproofing that I have in use here.
Perfect.
And that may suit if we can simply pack it in that. That would be relatively trivial to access as well.
I think that would be good for the time being. And if we check back once a cycle, we should be fine. The towels alone last at least 3. So as long as we keep back once a cycle to see if there's any change, especially now, we should be good.
Absolutely. Well, I'm sure I have a few pieces of soundproofing that I sort of keep around because that's something that I need to replace somewhat regularly. So I'll easily just sort of root up a few chunks of that, and we can sort of layer it within the containment unit.
Yeah.
To kind of give that a little cradle, as it were, to sit in.
Cool.
Yeah.
And as you're going about this, you hear footsteps on the floor above you, though they're very crisp, clear footsteps.
Crisp, clear footsteps.
Oh yes.
Only so many people have access to this lab.
Yup. And from the top of the trapdoor, you just hear Havelock call down. I'm more put together.
Good, you may join us in the containment bay.
Lovely. And Havelock, I shit you not, just slides down the ladder.
Yes.
Incredible.
Yep. All right.
Look, got a fun slide.
Got a bit of a pep in your step there, I see.
Well, there's nothing a box of yeah, Havelock does look pretty energetic. It's like nothing a bit of nothing a morning bump can't fix. Besides,
I understand.
We are fairly sealed in here, yes? Can sound escape very well?
I would be incredibly impressed if it was. I had this built to my precise specifications.
yes,
Brilliant.
I brought something you may find useful.
Mm-hmm.
And Havelock, they're wearing their normal, like, really nice form-fitting suit with, like, the long jackets that they're very fond of, and they're, like, digging around in their pockets, and they pull out what looks a lot like an old piece of, like, linen, maybe? And they, like, it's folded up, and they just, like, wring it out real quick, and they're like, you see just a lot of bizarre symbols written all over it in a very specific set of shapes and, like, geometric ruling to it. And, they're like, this might help. It's just something I threw together. It should help with dampening sound around it. It's just a little something I threw together. It's
Well, in this situation, is better too much than not enough.
Yeah, some of the sounds you're going to want to tune out aren't conventional.
I mean, Spencer basically goes like, "Do you want a filter for us?"
Filter?
So, Spencer makes a secondary and turning to them.
Yep.
One of them turns to the other, and he like snaps his finger, and the sound passes through and looks like sort of dispelled sand coming out the other side. And is gone. It doesn't echo through them. It just dispenses out. And he turns back and goes,
Perfect.
That sounds
Um,
lovely.
before we begin, do you wish to see
See.
the experiment?
Oh, you mean
What
the?
I heard turned into, yes, the echoes and cries and screams.
Oh, that. Well, I'd be lying if I said it wasn't the first time that it happened, but
We can do this elsewhere, but
hmm.
if it is individuals or a certain entity, I don't know if it is of benefit to you for me to try that.
Oh, can I? And they're just like, is the crystal visible or is it still covered in something?
I think it's covered like we've packed it quite well on
Yeah,
the
it's
inside.
just
so,
layers of padding.
yeah.
But we can
So
expose
you
it
yeah,
if we
you so
need.
it looks so the image I have in my head, it looks like a pillow fort.
Oh yes, I was
Perfect.
picturing that as well.
Yep.
Yeah,
Same.
It's
Okay.
like it's still sitting in the towel on the inside, but you can see it stacked up and it's got like a little triangle over it, kind of thing. So
Mhm. Oh, that's great. Can
yeah,
I see it for a moment?
yes.
I have some ideas.
With help, we
Yep.
take the things off. I pick up the towel. With it inside, I hold it and say like, Pontus, where do you want
L-
this? And what do you want to
Um, I mostly just wanted to see if it shifted colors. Oh dear.
It is ruby red, I presume. Haven't looked at it since, and I basically I open up the towel so that we can look inside it, but the towel can be closed over straight away if need be.
Yep. The color is. It now looks almost sort of pinkish.
How long ago did I see it as ruby red?
Maybe 10, 15 minutes ago?
It was ruby red 10, 15 minutes ago.
It fades. I have. Oh dear. Now looks this thing like, ugh, okay.
Yeah,
I have
oh no.
theoretical ideas about what this could be similar to.
Mm.
I best guess, top of my head, spitballing here. Some kind of mass phylactery, or
That
perhaps
would explain. That would explain a thing or two.
Yeah,
It
that's.
would. It's not that I like it.
We will need to do. We shall secure
We'll
it here.
need to do further testing, but I need to be in the right headspace for that.
Can we head to your secure area?
My
You what I heard.
Oh, of course. Yes. I'll prepare my study.
Yeah. That leaves the question of it is safe within this area, I presume. Professor Whackbat, we can leave this for now and it will be fine.
Unless it is a far more nefarious substance than I understand it to be, I hardly doubt it is I hardly believe it is the most dangerous thing I have stored in here.
Perfect.
At worst case scenario, the only thing that will be damaged is my lab. Which,
see,
let's be honest, that's happened before.
You see Havelock like kind of closing their eyes and just like sort of like turning with one of their hands sort of out in front of them, just like turning a bit throughout the room, and is like eventually they seem to alight on a spot and is like there. And there's like an empty shelf space, and they just put down their little tapestry-ish thing they brought with them. And is like,
nice.
That might be the best place for it, as
Very
far
well,
as I can tell.
Very well. Move all the padding over. We put it down nicely. We cover it. Stack it up a bit off the floor so it's not touching the floor. With again soft materials, and just replicate what we had before.
Oh yeah.
But then so I say to Havelock, so like, get this away from that thing, because I'd rather not else to mess with alongside the tuning forks.
Oh, yes, yes. I would keep just in general, like particularly resonance prone materials away from it, but
Mm.
I think, needs outside sound to start whatever it does. Uh,
Yes. I'm half tempted to cover the damn thing in cling film, but we'll cover that when we get to more things. Um,
hmm?
let's head to yours then.
Yes, yes, of course. And Havelock leads the way to their chambers.
Cool.
And um the Nebulous Collection seems to provide for the needs of its guests in interesting ways. Like,
Mm.
Professor Whackbat, you didn't so much request or commission a laboratory as found yourself having inherited one that suited your purposes.
Mm-hmm.
And
There's a marvelous coincidence.
yep, yeah, you're a lot of the equipment in your lab is your own, but like things you could find useful, just or things that might help your latest endeavors seem to have a way of finding their way to you.
Mm.
That sort of thing. Much the same with Havelock. They have a small little, sort of almost an apartment suite. They've got just a,
Mm.
they've got a very Spartan bedroom, a pretty luxurious bathroom, and, just a, like, study library area. And there's a little, like, kitchenette thing. And you can tell that they just brew a lot of tea there. They just brew a lot of tea, or occasionally make themselves some food when they're too busy to bother with the cafe.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Uh,
the place has a strange but not unpleasant smell to it. It's just a
Mhm.
little weird. And a lot of the desk that has all the like chemical instruments on it, like definitely has like a very sharp chemical tang to it.
yeah. Um, so basically, within Havelock's area,
Mm-hmm.
uh, I sort of like, where is the clearest spot, or like just surrounding? Um,
Luck like looks at like their shelves of different things somewhat nervously, and then like um runs over to the desk, picks up their book, and the chains around the book, which they like take the book off the pedestal. The chains seem to
Mhm.
wind themselves around Havelock's waist of their own accord,
uh,
and
cool.
then like just kind of runs back over and is like, "We could, my bedroom might be the have the
I
least volatiles around."
I just need space. This won't
Space.
this won't conversion. You're not going to see a sound. You're going to see an image
Oh,
based on what I heard. So I just need the space.
oh. In that case, yeah, the study's perfect. It's the largest room in my
Perfect.
suite.
Oh, the he said the acquirer Spencer says to both of you is like, stand in front, maybe behind the desk. Don't how much room have I got either side of me right now?
Um, it's not an enormous room, but like it's a lot of shelves and
Okay.
then the doorway.
How
So
many
like I'm trying to think of maybe we've got like maybe 5 feet either side, and like the room is longer than it is wide. So like you've got a good,
mm,
yeah, like
okay.
you've got space.
Sure. Actually that will work. Would I be able to deduce
Mm-hmm.
um how many names I heard when the experiment went on?
Um,
And if the answer is absolutely not, I'm absolutely happy to take that.
Would you be able to deduce how many like voices or sounds you mean, or like?
As in, like when you said that they were kind of screams,
Yeah.
like how many different screams did I hear?
Oh,
Yeah.
throw a d6 for me.
Okay. Go back to the. For anyone who's wondering, we're using a fantastic little thing called Sidekick Bot, which you can roll a d6 for.
Yep.
So I'm just
It's a
going to
fun
copy-
dice rolling app.
It's
I've always
really
found
quite
it handy.
fun.
Yep. Can roll any
Was
number
able
of
to-
any sided dice. I have
Yeah.
in fact rolled 69 d420s
Yes.
before. It was lovely.
Correctly, I actually rolled for the fans of Critical Role. I actually rolled 300 d6, and the total was 985, which is how much damage Keyleth took when she fell from 1,000 feet as a goldfish. So 1d6. I've done something
No
wrong
space.
there.
It's
Oh,
slash
thank you.
r space 1d6.
Thank you very much.
No worries.
Cheers.
It's what friends are for.
Oh, it's not going to work because
It's not gonna work
I've
'cause you
edited that.
edited, yeah,
it's
dumb.
not a fresh command. That's absolutely fine. 1 second.
Bots are like that.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, so you can sort of tell. There were maybe you can tell that there were like maybe 5 or 6 real loud ones, but there was a lot being drowned out and buried by them.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's a case of because the state I was in as well, it was kind of like I'm
Yeah.
trying to discern things while, as I say, going for a feint. So it's like, okay,
It's not great,
So
yeah.
about six is reasonable before I started to have a real issue. Okay, with that in mind, I very very much so I factor in like, okay, so 5 or 6, you can see calculations, and it's like, okay, so factoring in the size I have, you see sort of squeeze my fists, like ball my hands into fists.
Mm-hmm.
He very quickly start to come out. It's like light starts passing down them.
Oh.
And Spencer starts to control his breathing in 2, 3, 4, in 2, 3, 4, out 2. And at some point, they're saying this. You can see the lips moving.
Mm-hmm.
Coming out. It's light travels down in 2, 3, 4. So it's like light, just going down and making the way to the fingertips.
Ah.
And from there, what you could only describe as like this is more, I'm trying to think. No, this is a distortion. So you're just Whackbat, unfortunately you're just watching Spencer just silently mumble the words breathe in 2, 3, 4. Havelock, you watch essentially like of translucent thread fall to the ground. It's like forms of steam going down. So it's like watching a waterfall, and it round and fills what space it can.
Lovely.
And rising from it, slowly, like on a graph, by bit, going across and up. Forms.
God, I wish
of
this chair would
each-
stop creaking.
are the forms of each scream, wail
As
that Spencer heard.
as
And
like
they are keeping their eyes on the floor, like, and like watching, and there's a sense of kind of like if this starts filling up, gonna stop this.
Yeah, that's valid. So like when you say the forms of each scream, you mean like they're depicted as like screaming humans or like
It's very much a case of whatever originally
oh, whatever's causing the screams?
so whatever if like based on what Havelock is saying about phylacteries,
Oh.
following that line of inquiry, it's kind of like
Oh, good. Oh, this is
Yeah,
going
so
to be
basically-
fun. Okay.
but it is keeping an eye on, like, he's aware it's a finite amount of space, so it's
Yup.
kind of like we'll see how far we get.
All right. So like the different screams start apparating and at first they're
And,
just
and
like
to be fair,
Mhm.
I should say, because again, there's no sound to them. It's like
Uh-huh.
entirely what you'll see. There's no sound thing. It's
Yeah.
turning a sound into an image.
All right. So yeah, each of the screams start apparating and at the beginning they seem like they're just vaguely humanoid things.
Mm.
But they seem drippy. Is the best way I can think to put it. Like, picture just watching what looks sort of like a person just kind of melting into a puddle of wax and sort of reforming itself and melting back again. And this continues, and eventually, like at right about where the screams start really picking up, like
Mhm.
face it, like the mouth, the like mouth is very clearly defined and opening and screaming, and then like out of the mouths more like faces are pulling themselves out and adding to screaming, and it just like these
Mhm.
things are just starting to turn in on themselves, and it's just like these things are just devolving into like monstrosities that are just constantly just this fluxing of like faces and mouths, and like it's very unsettling to look at.
Yeah, definitely. Um,
Honest
okay.
Pete.
You saw that, did you? Yeah. Like sounds they can compose as well. Probably is. But second, I just need to send a quick message. As is happening, so they're all forming. Some are deformed humans, and others are other creatures. Is
Mhm.
is there anything? Obviously, like there's so many different forms.
They
In
all
front of us. Given the deformed, is it obvious where they might have originated from? Is there anything that really sticks out as that tells me kind of something really fucked up here?
yes. As it continues, all of them seem to start like bleeding into like you see them tracing a sort of spiraling lines across down the floor towards like a center. And
Mhm.
that center, as far as you can tell,
Mhm.
could be sort of a it looks almost like everything else is very nebulous and gelatinous and sort of oozy, but like this is very clearly just like in uh mild content warning. Just in general, just all content ever.
Is this like are you going body horror with this?
Yes, we are absolutely
Okay.
going body horror with this.
Content warning, body horror. If you don't want to hear this, disengage from the stream, kind of thing.
Yeah.
You're all familiar with my sort of content warning
Yep.
thing. So
I'm bad about those, and this is a very eldritch game, so that's just a thing that's gonna happen a lot. But
doing a whole month of horror, like so super like aware of content warnings now.
yeah, I wish I will develop that habit or try to. It looks sort of like just a infant, but like a decaying carcass resting in what you assume is like some kind of cradle of just finger and hand bones and a lot of that, and wearing a crown seeming to like seeming to laugh or seeming to just enjoy whatever the hell is going on, and all of these things are like swirling inward and from this thing in the center of it all.
Is the crown yellow?
Oh
swear,
boy.
Nick, I'll hang up.
Fuck out of here. Fuck out of here, bro.
No, the crown
Pasta!
isn't
Okay. But it is so that description of the crown, so it's like it's swirling up around. It's
Mhm.
like a crown of laughter and pain and various like
Yeah, this
is it from the crown?
it's not from the crown itself. It's just coming
Oh.
from this thing. It happens to be wearing a crown.
Ah,
But like
cool,
it's
cool,
just
cool.
yeah, it's this like weird, looks like a decayed like dead infant that is like just vibing almost, just seeming to go
Yeah.
about their business.
Yeah.
You know, if you can get past the cradle made
in-
of hand bones and such.
Sure. In that case, that's the image that essentially I draw up,
Mhm.
like essentially like hold in place for
It's
like I leave everything I
Yep.
stop making images on the ground.
Yeah.
And I look at Havelock and basically I'm like, well, like everything's available, but that's the one I'm like, that's the one Havelock needs to see
Yep.
first.
Havelock's like, I hate phylacteries so much. Okay, so, yeah, that's a phylactery, all right, and that Havelock's just like sounds at the end of their rope and just pointing at the fucking infant. Is like, and that right there is the primary medium, the original sacrifice to create this phylactery.
Well, shit. And then,
Yeah.
like, as they say, well,
Well.
shit, the entire image except for the image that's important. Like, well, shit, it's
Yup.
just gone. Like it doesn't even go back into
Yeah. I've-
Spencer. It just like disappears like so much. Like, and it's weird. It's weird. Like you all watched it happen, and it was a solid thing,
Uh-huh.
and then it literally like it's almost like amid like when a sleight of hand trick when someone puts a cloth over.
Oh,
it's that
yeah.
in reverse. So
Oh,
it's like,
cool.
It's gone.
Nice.
But the image that matters is still there, and sort of that
Mhm.
like picks it up and puts it on the desk, and it's solid. You can touch it and look at it and everything else, but yeah. And at a moment's notice, you deduce that Spencer can do that with pretty much anything that they create.
That's really cool.
Like you also notice that like Spencer has to sit down
Yup.
because it's like
Yeah, Havelock is Havelock like picks this thing up and just like is really getting a good look at it. And then after a couple of minutes, they or like after like 30 to 45 seconds, they're like,
Mm.
"All right. If this is a strain for you to maintain, you can stop. I know what I need to know."
it's fine. It's attached to me, but it's separate from me. It's kind of like a light switch now.
That's fair.
If I wanted to disappear, I can. I'm just shouldn't have done the experiment and then known I needed to do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
What have you got in the way that's fruity and divine?
Let's say I could offer you a bracing shot of something if you
Yeah.
require.
Yeah, Havelock
I
walks-
turn to Whitebat and I'm like, I need to be able to work after this, unfortunately.
Havelock
But thank you.
walks over to their chemistry cabinet, and you can see like a small shelf, well, a pretty big
Mm.
shelf offset next to it, and they look
Mm.
like bottled potions. And Havelock's like looking down the line of them, like browsing through them, and then just like picks up one that's like this very
Yeah.
rich purple color and hands it to you. And the label on it just says a good night's rest. That should be an entire night's sleep in a bottle.
Perfect. So Spencer Spencer opens the stopper. I presume it's got a stopper on top.
Mhm.
Whistles into the mixture.
Okay.
Waits a moment. Opens it again.
Mhm.
Feels the tune that comes out.
Huh.
drifts off to sleep.
Oh!
Is still there.
Yup. Wait,
I'm
did they just drink it and pass out?
no, they
I'm so confused.
they infused a whistle with all the potency of the spell of the potion,
Oh.
Okay.
and imbibed that way. So they didn't touch the potion. Like the potion is still you still have the potion.
Yeah, Havelock is like looking at this like that's new. And
just before he drifts off, it's like it's a great way to double up if you've only got a small amount. It's like,
huh. That is remarkably efficient. I'm jealous. And Havelock just like restoppers the bottle and leaves it next to him. And then turns to Whackbat and is like, "All right. So they'll be awake in 15, 20 minutes and they'll feel extremely well rested. In the meantime, that's a phylactery. So, generally speaking, phylacteries, at least in my experience, are always a nightmare nuisance monstrosity because the
I've never met
more
one that wasn't.
the more souls that are trapped in them, the more powerful and hard to destroy they are. We could there's any number of things I could theoretically do. But I don't know that we want to unmake this thing quite yet.
Yes. Part of the issue is that a simple destruction of the phylactery, were it to be smashed, exploded, etc., would likely release all of those souls at once.
Oh,
which
we'd level
naturally.
It'd be bad. It'd be real bad.
So we need to do some form of controlled destruction. Something that will allow for a more controlled release.
Flux,
from out of the ether, you hear Arclight go, "Can I recommend Mama Ma Ma Mama Ma?"
Sorry, did you hear something?
Nothing
Once an episode.
particularly unusual. Must be lunchtime. Sounded like the lunch
how
bell.
do we create some sort of valve, as it were, metaphorically speaking, to allow for a safer, controlled release of these souls?
We can.
It doesn't seem like there's a way that we could extract them individually or even as small groups. So how do we? That's the question that needs to be asked.
It's always the tricky one, and the problem with the question you're asking is one of the nature of souls. Without a body, without something physical to bind itself to, souls become nebulous, things of pure thought and ideas and feelings, and in so doing tend to blend into one another. We're thinking about this in a way. We're thinking about this as if there's anything to be done for the souls still trapped inside of it. There isn't. This is a battery now.
Indeed. To say nothing of the potential damage on the conceptual level, even if they're beyond a point of physical, energetic harm, the nature of the place around us is shaped by ideas and information. And the potential damage they could wreak on that level in an uncontrolled release could
I don't
not simply level the place, but do lasting conceptual damage to the collection. That would put even the most heinous of my experiments at mere child's play.
Oh yes, conceptual damage to this place would be... Havelock just looks really horrified for a moment. Bad. But, let's see. I'm not sure if it's nothing but a risk, and what's in it is beyond saving. If we unmake this, I would recommend that we do it very slowly and carefully, and I have a few things we might try to siphon the energy off gradually.
Mhm.
However, if we're just going to disperse the energy for no reason, why not harness it for something?
Indeed.
Things like this are best described as force multipliers. Very part battery, part amplifier, if you will. They are something like the marks the book put on me.
I could see that parallel easily.
Yeah, Havelock looks less amused for a moment. I've often pondered the source of the book's energy. I'm starting to imagine it's all of the previous wardens.
Well,
Or perhaps all of the accumulated knowledge and thoughts that the book has absorbed, and that's why it's so keen on it.
well, if we were forced to simply dispose of the thing, I'm sure we could find a portal to a suitably distant and desolate place where a controlled demolition could be arranged. But I
Oh,
agree that that does seem like a waste, though. I
Mm.
admit there would be I could fill a volume full of field notes from observing such a demolition were I to survive it.
Oh, yes. It's.
But it does seem like something of a waste.
Yeah, ghoulish though it is, energy is still energy. And this. Not to mention, I don't know that the collection would be particularly pleased with us destroying something it I presume, tried so very hard to acquire at one point.
Hmm.
And, the conversation has been going on long enough that,
Yeah.
yeah, the Jameson starts to, stir.
Oh.
Welcome back to the land of the living.
Which living?
This
So,
one.
Now, speaking of the knot, with this phylactery.
Well, I believe controlled demolition is out of the question, so
For now, the nebulous... The Nebulous Collection wants it around for something. Who knows what? Mayhaps we can
There are...
Mayhap...
Say again?
Oh, mayhap we can find a use for it. It's certainly a powerful reserve of energy if you can get past the ghoulishness of its nature.
There are more.
Oh, there are plenty more, I'm sure. If someone had the skill and ability to make one, they probably had the ability to make more.
No, there are definitely more. I've seen one.
Oh, dear.
Years ago.
I don't suppose you recall where?
Yes, but I need the documents for the notes to be able to give you the coordinates because it is, it was one of the unnamed expeditions.
Oh, fun. Alright.
Hmm.
Well, no rush. Take your time. In the meantime, let's keep an eye on it, let's keep it safe, and let's keep it the hell away from Harlow.
Yes. Oh, one more thing. Based on what happened in the lab, what this thing is capable of.
This...
They might not be dispersed as a security, as a way to protect the spirit that. I have a nasty feeling, and I'm sure you. They are dispersing them to be weaponized in areas.
It's very possible. Also, oh no, I really hope I'm wrong about this. But I don't think I am. It
Neither do
could be
I,
a sort
that
of
worries me.
sapient object. In the sense that my book needs something to channel itself through. These things could need something to channel themselves through, and we're just not able to tap into that correctly. whatever
Coloration.
what
Sorry, carry on.
whatever culture created these things had a clear purpose in mind for them, and that implies that there was a way they were meant to be used. If we can find the culture that made them, look into some lore about them, perhaps, we can learn what they're for, and more importantly, how to use them. And then,
When
prevent use of or use them as is appropriate.
Mm, it was blue.
Blue.
Was it like a deep blue when it was sitting in the lab? First time I saw it.
The
Or you said
very
it was like a
first time.
diamond, so
Yeah, the very first time you saw it. Because I would say you've seen it a couple of times.
yeah.
When you first, maybe you brought it in. When you first brought it in, it was like a very deep, rich blue.
Mm,
And then it was like that just glass clear diamond color. And when you did the
Interesting.
experiment, it like turned like just
Turned red.
blood red.
yeah. It was blue when I brought it in.
Hmm.
It was clear, diamond glass, clear like you was looking through it.
Hmm.
However
Intriguing.
long it had been there.
Well, I can't speak to what the colors mean, but there's probably some significance to it. Could be anything from it responding to the things and people around it, some sort of, or it could be it could be as simple as that's how it's feeling that day. I'm honestly unsure.
That's why Harlow was on it.
Oh,
Harlow is the most boring individual imaginable.
Harlow is something of a reality sink.
It all makes sense. Oh, we should put that back in Harlow's lab after all.
I would keep it with us for a minute and find documents. It is maybe worth. I need to get my notes.
Well,
Hey,
no
you
rush,
get
friend.
credit for anything.
Well, we need to do a stop off, and you'll need to both be there.
All right.
See the curator.
Oh. Oh, okay. It's been a while since I've talked to the curator.
We won't be
This-
long. We just need
Alright.
to ask a couple of questions.
Oh, take your time. In the meantime,
So-
I will get some breakfast.
Oh no, you're coming too. and
I
drag
am?
them. So I drag all of us. Drag
Oh.
all of us to where the curator are.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
Damn it, Arkrat. You bastard.
Yep.
No breakfast yet.
Well, not just breakfast. Now I have to talk to myself, and that's annoying.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Love that.
You don't like. Well, I mean, you can if you want to, but like how I'm gonna play this, you'll be fine with.
Oh, okay.
So I lead us to where, based on what the cycle is and like knowing the routine, I lead them to where the curator is most likely to be.
Mm-hmm. And almost like clockwork, they are there. You see them like writing and writing down more notes on that pen that never seems to run out of ink.
Sure. I wait for. Let's see, the speed they write. Finish until they are turning a page.
Mhm. And
The-
as
on
they're
the-
all right, yeah, and as they're turning the page, they do look up and are like, "Welcome. Is there anything I can help
Hello.
you with, Jameson?"
Indeed. Access to the unnamed documents concerning Albion, and I need permission or acceptance. And Whackbat.
Ah, all right. And they're yes, they're at their desk, which is I want to say it's somewhere near the entrance of the museum, and it is one of those like full, genuine 360-degree circle desks with a lot of different
Oh,
stations,
nice.
and they're on like they're on a nice rolling padded chair in the center.
Sure. Nice.
Yep. So they like move over to where and just open a drawer, quickly locate essentially like these little like the like museum passes necklace things. It's essentially those. Like, it's extremely contemporary museum passes. Or, like, press
I love
passes,
it.
essentially.
Yeah.
The only
Yeah.
difference is they, instead of saying anything significant on them, they're just, like, despite being, like, extremely lightweight, they look like, like, wafer-thin slabs of stone. Or, like, just
Mhm.
pieces of stone, and there's, like, a glowing rune and nothing else on them.
Perfect. Oh, it was Nick talking to himself, colorized circa 1820. Thank you, Wasp. Oh, Jesus, that's amazing. That's
Waspy,
so
you are
cool.
delightful.
I love you so much, Waspy.
Oh, it's great. I love this.
Right. So,
Mhm.
with these passes, I say like, thank you.
Of course.
Give one to Havelock, and give one to Whackbat, and then take them again. Walk out the room, and it's like, right. We are bulletproof, indestructible. We are going to see Agnes, and so we go to the library.
I'm like, what are you psyching yourself up for? Yes.
Yep.
Oh, this is perfect, and I love it. Yes.
So
All
now-
right.
Yes. So now you know why I went to the curator.
That's amazing, and also yes. Havelock is just like,
Mama's
wait,
mad at
what?
me, so I'm going to dad.
We're gonna go see Agnes? Oh, we're gonna go see Agnes? I love Agnes. Lovely.
You love Agnes. Agnes loves you. I did the thing with the new intern, which turned out to be her new intern.
Yes.
Oh no. Oh.
That's why I've got these.
Oh, everything makes sense now. You could have just asked me
Mhm.
to get things from her.
Where's the fun in that?
I have
Gone.
permission.
You know what? You raise a decent point.
Hmm.
And yeah.
Yep.
Agnes is
So, Yeah.
at her place at the front desk of the library.
A pause and Havelock and says, for the files without a whisper.
Hmm?
If Agnes looks in my direction, says, show your pass, I'll make sure mine's on display.
Havelock just walks up to the desk. And is just like chatting amicably and laughing, and
Yeah.
she hasn't noticed anyone else yet.
Good.
Yup. And Havelock's just like does mention the pass and like
Mhm.
holding it up as if it's a funny joke, and she's
Mhm.
she's laughing and amused by it. And
Mhm.
then Havelock is like, then like indicates you and the
Mhm.
rest, and Agnes looks over and
Mhm.
like you've never known anyone whose gaze had a very physical, palpable weight to it the way Agnes's does.
Yeah. At which point, like,
And
just sort of like
Yep.
grip the pass, but hold it. So it's kind of like
Yup.
the flameproof shield in front of a dragon. Like,
Yup.
it's happening, but I can hold on if I just keep going.
And like she looks at you with like this baleful glare, looks back at Havelock, like instant face change to like very friendly smile, and then like closes her eyes, takes a breath, is like, "Is there something I can help you with, Mr. Spencer?"
Indeed, there is, Agnes. Access to the nameless files.
But of
Ooh.
course.
Thank you. Albion, specifically, please.
And is like, there is a giant, like, an entire cabinet, like a, like a bench cabinet type thing on the wall behind her.
Mm,
And all of it, from it to the ceiling is just, the rest of it is just those little fucking Dewey Decimal card system. It's that. And she like climbs up a ladder and starts sliding it along to look for where to, and like finds the stuff you're looking for, and it's not in any of the alphabetized areas. It is specifically like these drawers have no label.
Yeah.
But starts looking through them, and after like 3 or 4 minutes of searching, does produce does produce a couple of cards, and like dismounts the ladder, stares pointedly at you for a minute, then hands them to Havelock.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And Havelock just like smiles cheerfully and nods and is like, "Thanks."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Anytime, dearie." And then off you go.
As we're leaving,
Mm-hmm.
because he can't help himself,
Oh no.
an apparition appears right beside Agnes and goes, "How's Jack?" and disappears, and then he double steps.
And the back of your head seems to hurt a little all of a sudden.
Oh yeah. Ah! Why the Oxford Dictionary? Fuck!
Yup. Just, it seems to have flown off a shelf for no reason. Just an Oxford
strange,
English dictionary. Strangest thing. Wild stuff, that.
Yeah. Opened on the page where it said pickle. Fascinating. Strangest shit I ever saw.
Yup. And yeah, that is that. And
Brilliant.
all right, so you find the cards you're looking for, and they direct you to one of the areas. It directs you to one of the like more dangerous areas of the library.
Mm-hmm.
And Havelock's looking at it, looks at it again, looks up, seems to be muttering something under their breath, or perhaps praying, you're unsure, then looks down at it again, and is just like, fuck. What the actual fuck? They couldn't have... It's always that damn filing cabinet. Who? When I find who put that there, I will reanimate them just to kill them again.
Or perhaps they'll end up in one of those phylacteries and we'll hear them scream.
Forever. I will record it so I can fall asleep to it every night.
An audiobook? How curious.
Yeah, Havelock's just very like, ugh.
Yeah.
That damn filing cabinet has been the bane of my work. Going on most of my time here, actually. Oh, Havelock, could you retrieve this? It's in the most dangerous section of the library that only you seem to be able to be in, where some jackass put a filing cabinet full of essential files. Try to move the...
Havelock, where's your sense of adventure? I'm donning a pith helmet.
Yeah! Yes!
Very nice.
Yeah,
Very
Havelock's
You
like...
don't know where I got it, but I have one.
Yep.
I love it.
Havelock, is just, like, looking somewhat irritated, looks down at their clothes and is like, I need to change. And, seems to very quickly, like, suddenly the door to their room is where it would conveniently be. And, they just very quickly go in, wearing their normal, like, well-tailored, very nice, clearly mostly silk suit, and, like, wingtip shoes, and emerge wearing, like, some nice tweed and leather and like thigh-high boots. Yeah, they just emerge wearing like much more hard-wearing stuff, and like their the shoulder rig that's normally underneath their coat is like just externally like they have their fucking gun there now.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Avlok just comes out wearing like just heavy, like just yeah, much harder wearing like a lot of leather and tweed.
Mm-hmm.
And out of one of the pockets in their from a pocket they take out like a very nice case and they open it and it's cigars instead of their normal cigarettes.
Mm.
And as they're walking they like clip a cigar and begin toasting it.
Hmm.
So we're going adventuring. Won't that be fun?
Mm.
I have got to commission Magi for more art. What
Yeah.
Havelock in their
Great.
adventuring gear.
I just want to like. So one thing I want to get is like good at landscape because I want to draw all the things Spencer has done with like sound.
Oh, that'd be so cool. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I have in my head exactly kind of like babed Lich King you've described kind of in my head, and I want to see
Yeah.
what that looks like, kind of thing. So.
Oh, definitely.
Mm.
Let's see. All right. So, beyond that, yeah, you just so it's a lot of yeah. Havelock's like, you got any you've fought ghosts before, right?
Once or twice, yeah.
Cool. Lovely. How about dealings with the more substantial undead?
Define substantial.
Physically present. Think ghouls.
Oh, those are much easier to deal with.
Yeah, think
Do you have
ghouls and
that?
zombies. Yeah.
If
And
it's-
even to understand that you have a firearm, that should be more than sufficient.
Oh, I do.
I have a couple. I have a couple of tools at my disposal for wraiths and for ghouls and various others.
Ah, lovely.
Zombies not so much, but again,
Hmm.
a swift bat around the neck usually does the job.
Oh, most definitely.
Is there
And
anything
have-
else besides those? we
Uh,
should know of?
the worst thing to watch out for is book thralls is the best word I can think of for them.
Moment, and Spencer starts checking his pack.
My
which is-
yeah, the bodies can be a little resilient.
what
and it'd be a
in terms of them like
Hmm?
speaking every time you appear.
What?
The thralls when they appear, like where
Oh.
did they hail from? What do they think they're guarding? What?
Oh, well,
Big.
they're more or less just curious newcomers to the museum who do not heed the warnings about books.
Oh shit! They're tourist thralls. Fuck.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad.
Hmm.
They're not even, they don't really think so much as just,
Yeah, just appear.
yeah, they're
Okay,
just kind of there.
Professor Whackbat, do you indeed have a second bat I could borrow?
I do always carry a retractable baton for those that are not so inclined.
If I may, just as a
Certainly.
measure again.
It's essentially like think like one of those retractable batons that you can get.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
In like
Yep.
a, you know, like an airplane catalog or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah,
Self-defense. But it's a little
Yeah.
thing that you can fold up in your pocket.
nice.
Yeah, so take
Um,
that and put it like just loop it into the belt so it's there just to pull out and use. So.
Mhm. Yeah, and Havelock is just like, the best advice I can offer is try not to destroy the books.
Of course.
As obnoxious as they can be, they're useful to the museum. But,
Very.
you know, sometimes that's a bit of a I mean, sometimes destroying the body outright can be difficult. If you can restrain them, I can usually finish them off.
Okay. I will say that if one of the books starts vibrating, glowing, or speaking, or grows eyes in response to something in here, I will have to destroy it. But that's part
Oh,
of the measure.
that should. Oh, I fear. Let's see. What is and Havelock like rummages around in their like they have like this little like briefcase slash messenger bag thing. They're just rummaging around in it, and they're like, "Oh, that's what these are for." And
Mm-hmm.
they're not chains; they're belts, like just
Mhm.
sturdy leather belts. But they have a lot of the same engravings, as the chains Havelock has around the book. Or at least you're seeing a lot of aesthetic similarities.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So standing by, waiting for
Mm-hmm.
a word from Havelock, and just keeping an eye
Yep.
on the room in general.
Mm.
They sort of on the areas that they've like noted as like be aware of.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, this'll actually be a fun chance to see how combat really goes in this game. Let's do some combat.
Dun 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 dun. Dun. No, wait, wrong combat.
There we go.
Perfect. All right. Where is character sheets? Here they are. I wanted to keep this chat clean. Whackbat. Lovely. Lovely. All right. And redacted. Here we are. No, I don't want to download a file. Oh, right. Right. Let me just open it with Word, I guess.
Dare you open the Word document?
All right. Delver. Nice. Okay. All right. So, let's begin. So, you're wandering around, and Havelock is just trying to instruct everyone to, like, step lightly, is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
And so, let's see. Does anyone have any stuff that gives them any bonuses to, like, sneaking around? That sort of thing.
Definitely not.
Yeah. Let's say, Havelock, no. There are a lot of things. Sneaky ain't one of them.
As a practical matter, if we want to be stealthy, you would probably have to restrain Whackbat from going first. He does not believe in such a concept as sneaking around like a thief in the night.
By nature of profession, there's some level of sneakiness, but no temporal. Nah, not really. It's not going to help them really in that regard, based on how it functions. Yeah, it's kind of like just sort of relying on their ability as an explorer and adventurer, really. So not bad, but not any sort of magical aid of any kind would be a way to describe it.
It's part of your skill set as a person.
Yeah.
So the rest of us will roll 1d6. You will roll 2 and take the best.
Cool. That works for me.
All right. Ooh, yes. Just a nice flat yes. Excellent.
Let me go. So.
I love how dramatic this story is. Oh. Okay.
Okay. So yeah.
All right.
The higher of the two there.
Yep. So the best in this case is the no but, as opposed to the no and.
Cool. I'll take
Yeah,
that.
ones are no fun.
No.
Yeah, this is
Well,
no,
I'm taking-
and
I'm
in
taking the-
addition,
I'm taking the higher of the two, though, aren't I? So
you're taking you're rolling the best. So like sometimes
Well-
it's like roll 2 dice and take the worst. Sometimes it's roll.
Yeah.
Right now you're taking the
well,
best.
that's I
which is
mean
the
that's
5.
that's okay. I'm taking
Yep.
I'm taking 5. So
Mhm.
All right. Yeah. All right, and Professor Professor Whackbat.
Mhm.
Is he like even try? He's not even trying to sneak, is he?
No.
Perfect. I love it.
No attempt is made. He will-
Sensational.
He will stride boldly into whatever danger we are facing here.
Good. All right
so
then.
so yeah. So Havelock and I are carefully moving.
Yep.
Through every step, carefully chosen, and then
Yeah. Havelock, for their part, is literally just like not making noise. Like they're something about the way
Yeah.
they're walking, they're like rolling their hips in such a way that like their steps are not loud. It's real good.
Nice.
Meanwhile, you're doing your best to do that, but now and then it seems to be you're training something about the day's events have unsettled your nerves, as it were.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you keep waiting for your normal reflexive training to kick in, and it doesn't quite come to you as easily. But with some
Yeah.
effort, you're making a good effort, and so like it's not as bad as it could be. But you make little noise mistakes here or there, and
Yeah, misjudge kind of like a creak here or
Yeah.
a pile of something there kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Nothing-
Yeah.
Mm.
nothing too alarming. Meanwhile, the bold professor just stomp, stomp, stomp.
With a tally and a hoe, and off they go.
Yep. All right. So, that is. All right. So, before too long, everyone here, Havelock isn't. I think both of you are rather perceptive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Havelock's good at perceiving supernatural shit, but they're not the best at perceiving their surroundings. So, both of you roll 2d6, and I shall roll 1, and those will be perception checks.
Okay, I'll roll them separately this time. So.
Havelock does not. Oh!
Oh,
Oh dear!
oh, well, that makes total
that
sense.
trucks. That trucks.
Yep.
I'm evidently distracted. So, like, I don't know what happened to Havelock, but I do know that the minute I'm trying to look stuff,
Yep.
Whackbat is essentially there, distracts me enough. Like, I'm trying to focus
Okay.
while also,
Yeah.
like, what are you doing?
Okay, so, Havelock is, like, looking around, but they're, like, you know that look on Havelock's face. They're seeing things that are interesting to them, and they're very clearly distracted by and lost in thought about those things. So they just flat out are, like, they're in making an effort to be vigilant, they've just gone and distracted themselves.
Yeah.
Yes, it
Meanwhile,
happens.
yep, you on the other hand see several figures looming about in the shadows, like you can almost feel their presence, but not before the good doctor bumps into one of them.
Amazing.
Yup. And like, yeah, Mulligan, you're just walking along, like just as you do, and then like all of a sudden you just walk right into one of the book thralls, and
Excuse me, good sir.
it like turns to you, and like there is just content warning, more body horror. There is just like a book has like fused into and merged with half of the flesh on their face and just cover it, so they have like one eye and their mouth is a little weird, and they just let out this like horrific shriek right in your face. And yeah, and then they attack you. So combat begins in earnest.
Perfect.
This isn't a game where initiative is really an issue or a thing that matters. So I'm just gonna go down the list of our names in order.
Indeed.
So but first, they definitely have us by surprise. So, one of them is attacking Mulligan Whackbat. Give me a roll and tell me how you, or no, tell me how you want to respond, actually, before we make any rolls.
Well, I was captured by surprise, but I do still have some of those boxer reflexes in me, and given that my cane is my weapon of choice, also I don't know if we've gone into my cane's shape-shifting abilities.
I am aware of them.
So my instinct would essentially be sort of a defensive jab, sort of as a creating distance, essentially.
Okay.
Sort of a like, oh, okay, I just bumped into something here. I'm going to sort of jab more as a measure to defend myself. And when I have the distance for more of a proper home run swing, we'll get to that. But that's obviously not going to be my first action. First I need to compose myself.
Of course. All right. So, all right. Give me a, let's see, Mulligan Whackbat. Whether I applied force. Okay, applied force definitely helps here. Yeah, that definitely helps. So yeah, but you are surprised, so 1d6.
Very good.
Oh dear.
The dice are not in my favor today.
Oh no. All right. So
are we doing such a thing as naturals?
What?
Are we doing the natural ones and natural 20s?
I mean,
I mean, there's
ones.
That makes sense here. Yeah, no, not
Ones
really. Like, yeah, one is just a no and.
I'm not saying this just in. It's not a great roll, but not like I just want to know if it's like a compounded by the fact that it is that.
It isn't not in the D&D sense where like crit failure real bad, but it's like story wise
ones are still just about as bad as you can get.
Yeah, ones are bad. Sure. It's got to be a little more narrative than that, I think. And I honestly hate I just hate the it's a 1, you fumble your I fucking hate
you
that.
You always have a 5% chance to fail or succeed in it.
I always prefer the thing of like just because you've got a natural of like 20 or a natural 1, like doesn't mean you succeed. It just means you were incredibly good at that particular thing or incredibly fell foul of that particular thing.
Yep.
Is my preference. Yeah, sorry to derail, please.
Oh, no, not at all. All right, so...
Also, for those concerned, Whackbat is sort of the party tank. He's designed to be able to
yeah.
So...
Whackbat is amazing. Like, I'm
Whackbat's
like
so good.
Bronson kind of character.
He's able to take a lick, so I'm not worried about it yet.
Yep.
Yeah,
all right.
The boxer.
So,
exactly.
You try to go for a jab that opens up some distance, and it hits, but it just goes right through them. Like you literally just punch a little cross section right out of them, and they don't seem to notice very much. And they like just claw at you a bit. It's so I'm gonna say it's nothing too bad, like nothing too awful, but like it's not great either. Like
sure.
You're bleeding. It hurts. Yup. But it's nothing too awful.
All right. So you say I punched through it. I physically punched through it then. It's sort of like there's a hole in it, but it doesn't seem to care.
Yes.
Just make sure.
Literally.
Okay.
Did you used the cane? Yes. Or did you
Yeah.
punch? Okay, because yeah, there is literally your cane is now.
Sort of like I punch. Yeah, with the hand. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, your cane literally just punched through this thing, and there's like a weird little cylinder of meat on the outside of this, just like stuck behind this thing now. Yup.
Interesting.
S-
Well, I'm gonna stop rolling ones soon, and then I'll we'll revisit this.
All right.
It's okay. I rolled 3 in a row. I think I've shaken them out now.
Here's hoping. So, it is. All right. It is the acquisitionist's turn.
Okay.
So,
Yes.
you saw. You definitely, or you saw, the professor do what they did. So,
Mm-hmm.
what are you doing now? You do see a couple others, like, still in the fringes, but they're clearly, like, charging towards the professor now.
Yes. 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 So they're moving towards so I take out a small it's for everyone who remembers from the first time we were here, it's essentially the kind of like whittled knife that they had
Oh.
that was a bit odd in design and seemed to have something unusual about it. So take out this blade, as it were, because that's the closest kind of thing.
Yeah.
And how far away are they from Whackbat at this?
10 feet,
10 feet. Okay.
give or take.
Is that gonna work? Is that gonna work? Is that gonna work? Yes. Okay. So, taking hold of the knife,
Mhm.
look as though I'm going to throw it,
Uh-huh.
hold it, click it,
Ah.
and then, not quite what you expect.
Oh.
Do you have eyes on right now? Either one of you? Well, no, Mulligan, you're looking at the wraith, the thrall.
Mm-hmm.
Are you looking at me, or are you looking in the direction of the thrall as well, Havelock?
I'd say Havelock, like, seeing you moving and about to do something, they'd focus their
Oh.
attention on you to coordinate better.
Okay, so yeah, so they hold it up in their hand as though they're going to throw it. They click the blade, and there is suddenly like a ripple of like motion across Spencer's body, almost
Oh.
like a frequency line runs across them.
Okay.
From their other hand, the knife fires towards them.
Huh. Well, isn't that something? They're not holding it anymore?
They are still holding it.
Oh, yep, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Oh, I like
Yeah,
that.
trying to keep it consistent with the kind of skill set they have.
Yeah, that makes sense. Give me a sec. I love having 3 different windows with all of the different characters. God, I am genuinely just gonna uninstall and reinstall my OS this week. This is out of control. All right. So that wait, no, that's Mulligan. Here we are. That works. Complete with the knife. All right. You are attacking something that does not notice you right now, or at least if it does not care right now.
Yeah, its attention is like focused elsewhere. So
yeah, and this is also something you're clearly good at. So yeah, no, this is entirely in your advantage. 3d6 take the best.
3d6 take the best. Nice. Wrong. Typing. Could I get a time check, by the way?
Oh, it is right now 1846. Right. It's 6:46 for me, so it's got to be 11:46 for
Load
you.
and change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. I just wanted to check where we were at, kind of thing. So no, I'm fine. Like I'm not doing
Yep.
anything till
Yeah.
My next stream's tomorrow, 10 o'clock
Okay.
BST. So
Yeah.
like
I'm
we're all
wrapping
good.
this up at 8 regardless because I have an errand to
Yeah,
run.
I wanted to double check where we were at for your sake as well. Like,
Oh yeah.
because I want
Mhm.
like thing. So it's
Hmm.
it's straight down the middle. It's 3 is the best.
Nope. 2 is actually the best in this case. 3 is a flat no. 2 is
Oh,
a
right.
yes, but.
Mhm.
All right. So.
Sorry, I misunderstood how the system was working. I was thinking.
Oh
Yes, we
yeah,
need to beat
it's
the odds.
yeah, it's literally
Cool, cool.
odds bad, evens good, and there's always like, or there's a
Hmm.
lot. The higher the number, the more beneficial it is across the board.
Right. Okay, so it's a 2 then.
Yep. All right. So, yes, the attack works, and you strike your prey. However, I'd say it more wings it than nails it directly. And now their attention is very much on you.
Yeah.
All
Do
right.
you
Hmm?
What was I going to say? Sorry, carry on if there's more.
Oh no, that was it.
I was going to say, like, for the whereabouts did I hit it?
Let's go with the shoulder. Yeah. All right.
That makes
So-
yeah, okay. Yeah, so there's a moment where sort of like they do that and it's kind of like damn the freaking tuning fork. And
Yep.
that's kind of me until like next round.
All right, and now it is Havelock's turn, and they have drawn their warden's sidearm.
Cool.
Yep, just I've decided it's just a very fancy 1911.
Nice. I will say
Mhm.
you can make out I don't know what coloration or like how the thralls are solid, right? They're like it's a solid mass.
They
Okay.
look like humans, except
Mhm.
like their eyes are just vacant looking, and
Yeah.
the books like fuse into their flesh in such a
Mhm.
way that it's like
Yeah,
uncanny and really upsetting to look at.
A literal like binding.
Yeah.
No, I was going to mention. So where the shoulder is, it's kind of like almost like a wispy, like in the shape of kind of like a blade. So
Oh.
that section, because it's made contact, is now, if you're a marksman, is a little more visible to hit than the others.
Intriguing. Okay.
Has to make contact with them, but now it has. It's yeah.
Was me. Oh. Okay. That's great. All right. I'm trying not to devolve into uwu today. I'm trying. So all right. Havelock has drawn their sidearm and decides that probably best to take them down one at a time. So is going to target the one you hit. And there Havelock is a mediocre shot with the average pistol. This one they seem to have a bit of a knack for, but nothing to write home about.
Sure.
So we'll just roll 2d6.
It's up
and
to
pick the
you. It's
best.
up to you whether you decide for the character whether this gives them advantage or not.
This I have an idea for how this will work mechanically, but I don't know if it has anything to do with the dice rolls. I have ideas.
Okay. What if you? Oh.
No. Fuck.
Oh, that is the
That
that is
is-
a double fuck. That is a double fuck.
Oh, that is That is beautiful. Holy shit. Wow. We're rolling real well
Are we
today,
quite certain
everyone.
that we haven't upset the sidekick in some way?
Can
I
we can we
don't
can
know.
we please just like DM Yeen just to ask her to come and save us? Like, holy shit, we're dead.
Yeah, I'm starting to think
Game.
that might not be a bad idea.
Really, like
This was
Yeen.
supposed to
We're
be
not
a
dead
fun.
yet, chaps. Stiff upper lip.
Yeah, seriously, this was
He says
supposed to be a
before his liquor's
fun
very
con.
much made unstiff.
All right. So, um, Havelock, like, just calmly and methodically, like, takes aim at the creature, fires, and misses. And wings poor Dr. Whackbat.
Do you also have like a popsicle?
It very barely grazes Whackbat. It's nothing too bad. It's just like, ow. It stings more than anything.
I've had worse injuries from my own experiments.
Yep. Havelock just like looks suddenly
But it's
alarmed and
still,
like, oh,
Ungentlemanly.
oh,
So
sorry.
it's less of a ouch, more of a like I just kind of give you a disapproving glance, like truly.
Havelock like cringes. It just looks like, oh, sorry. Yeah, this is one of those moments where it's fun to remind people that Havelock is a scholar, not a fighter. Havelock is someone who can do a bit of magic and has a gun. And now it's the enemy's turn. Okay, so the one that all right, so we'll start with the one that Whackbat is still impaling, sort of. So, yeah, it just takes a good, takes a nice healthy swing at you again, and, it seems to be, like, one of its arms seems to, like, distend and grow, like, longer, and, like, the fingers get longer and curl into, like, these claws. And it just takes a big, healthy swipe at you. And so roll a defense or respond however you see fit.
Is my cane still impaling the beast?
Yes.
I'm going to yank on it. Not to pull it out, but to push through, but to pull to a side, essentially.
Are you American on someone? Sorry.
It's fine. I liked it.
You're good. I mean, if it was that easy to punch through, I'm going to see if I can tear the pages off, as it were.
All right. So.
As it's winding up to do the swing, I'm just going to okay, and push to the side. Ideally, if I can push to the side with the arm that is gearing up to strike me here.
Sounds good. All right. Give me a roll. 2d6. Take the best.
Very good.
Oh, thank fuck! Finally, okay.
That's a much better number.
God, was worried it was just gonna be low rolls until we died of attrition. Okay.
I've seen it happen.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so, yeah, that works. Like,
beautiful.
Yeah, like, let me set the scene a bit. Like, he's Mulligan Whackbat is he's not a young man anymore, but he certainly knows exactly where to apply force to make things happen. So watching Whackbat do things is often like watching like those really not elderly, like frail looking, but like older martial arts masters like break a tree in half with a well-placed strike. It's that. So that's sort of what happens here. You you swing the cane and you twist it as you do in just such a way that it just right out the side, like an entire like section of it just like caves out or just like sprays out of it, and it's just a bloody gross mess. It is a splashy meat fest of a time. But yeah, this thing just it like convulses and kind of just like collapses for a sec. Or not for a sec, like it just collapses for the time being.
I'm sort of picturing like a single strike sword fight from a Kurosawa film.
Kinda, yeah.
Just that quick like sweep, pause, spray of blood.
Exactly. Pretty much.
Very good.
Yep. All right, and that's how that goes. And you see it sort of convulsing, and then like there's still just blood pouring out of this horrible torn out of their body wound. Not cut but torn. And it's like they're just losing a lot of blood, and the body itself seems to be shriveling in a really weird and unsettling way into the book that it's attached to.
Oh, that's awesome. Gross, but awesome.
Right?
It can be both.
I'm not knocking it. Like
Oh, no,
it's
no.
just like yeah.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I hope I don't get too one note with it. But like I do love shit like this. Like this is my bread and butter.
Trust me, I've thought of probably 50 different ways to describe some of Whackbat's strikes and things like that. So
Same.
Yeah,
I
for
can always
sure.
fill in if you need.
Yeah, but like body horror is my bread and butter, and I love it. Let's see.
Interesting thing to do to a body, bread and butter it.
Does not go very good on toast.
It does not.
Mm-mm.
All right, so second one is we've notices Jameson lets out a mighty ooh-woo and charges. Yeah, this one, its legs seem to be doing weird, funky shit as it runs at you. Like, you'd swear they're almost elongating and retracting as it runs. And it just looks like it's winding up just a big punch.
Just to double check, is this the one that I hit,
Yes.
or a different one? Okay,
It's the one that you hit.
in that case, yeah. So it's face. Yeah, okay. So
You're so excited. I
I
love
am
that.
because what's about to happen. So
Yeah.
click the blade again, and the blade in it towards the raised hand.
Okay.
So it's going across and through the thrall to get back to the knife.
Perfect. Okay. All right. Yeah, this thing is ignoring all else in pursuit of you. It definitely notices you're there now though. So 2d6 take the best.
2d6 take the best. Okie dokie. Much better.
Better. Yes. Okay. So 5 is the best, and that's a no but. So what ends up happening is the knife doesn't quite do what you want it to do. It doesn't like cleave through the thing or any of that. However, the knife in its weird bullshit kinda nah.
Please, I prefer the term scientific bullshit.
Of course. Yes. The knife seems to, in a bizarre flight of fancy, well, sweeping the leg is not quite not quite what you do with a bladed implement, but the effect is roughly similar.
Okay.
And
I
one
like
of its
that.
legs just kind of detaches. It's a very clean
I can,
cut.
okay, yeah. Yeah. So it's kind of like
Mm-hmm.
the effect of it leaving ripples down and just kind of like
Yeah.
gathers at one of the legs to cause the effect that happened.
Mm-hmm. All right. And it collapses. It's still clamoring after you, however.
Of course.
It's not gonna let the
Oh.
loss of a limb slow it down any.
Yeah. Is it so it's lost one leg, so is it kind of like so it can crawl with pretty good pace then because
Oh yeah. It can keep up a pretty good pace.
yeah.
But
Okay, yeah,
it's
'cause it's using its other leg in its arms. Yeah, it can still
Yeah.
propel.
It doesn't seem to have noticed that it's lost a leg. It's just now clamoring towards you on the ground.
Yeah. How far away is it when it falls from me?
I want to say like 5-6 feet maybe.
Okay. As it's doing that, I
Mhm.
and start kind of backing up
Okay.
just to kind of like keep a little more difference because I don't like get the impression that this thing is quite happy to kind of propel itself the rest of the way if it means it will get to me.
All right. And our third boy is the
I
one
am
that
keeping I'm keeping carefully away from the bookcases behind me. I'm not going to walk back into them.
Mm-hmm. All right, our third boy does attack the professor again. No one ever distracted him. But you know, it's fine, probably. It's what tanks are for. Absorb
Yep.
aggro.
Yep.
Yep.
Have at you, villain.
Okay, so yeah, it just this one being inventive and a bit more creative decides it is time to just try for like more of a just tries for a flying tackle.
Hmm.
And yeah, how does the professor respond?
It may be in for a rough surprise. I did not oil up this morning.
That is the best response I could possibly have had to that. Fuck.
I'm going to politely
yep.
reject its offer to wrestle and simply step out of the way.
Okay.
Just like reject its reality and replace it with your own.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that would be too impolite. I am simply going to step aside and let it dance with someone else.
Yep.
Oh, that's nice.
And if it chose to get air on that, I imagine it will be dancing with the floor very shortly.
Oh yeah, it definitely went for air. Like this thing like coiled itself up and just sprang. And
Well.
it's flying at you. But yeah. So it I'm gonna go with yeah, like you see this coming. It's doing something risky. Just 3d6 take the best. Like this is
Very good.
yeah.
Oh.
This thing is doing a very risk reward type deal here. Okay, yeah, you very all right. So yeah, flat. Yes, you very neatly just turn, dodge out of the way, and it just face first into the floor. This thing is just down.
Yes, I can see the tile is a much more fitting dance partner for you. Enjoy.
And now it is everyone's turn again.
Mm.
So it like we don't have to go in any particular order. If anyone wants to do something, just speak up.
Okay. You go first.
Me? Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. Havelock will in an
We're expecting that, huh?
You didn't think it was like I understand what you're saying. I nominate you.
oh Okay, great. Havelock,
I've just done the verbal equivalent of who's next, and the entire line moves back.
yup. Alright, so, yeah. Havelock decides, okay, fucking let's not fuck it up this time. And to the one that's like crawling on the floor, the one that's like stunned on the floor, and like still like, oh, what happened? What happened? It's gonna try to shoot that one, and oh, thank fuck it worked this time. Okay,
We
so
have Flea's sidekick.
yep.
Hmm.
All right, the gun. Yeah, the gun fires. It tears into this thing, and you know that's all well and good. You do notice that there's a like where around the wound starts glowing in colors similar to Havelock's tattoos,
Ooh.
and this thing just starts screeching. And that's Havelock's turn.
Oh shit. So this thing is now screeching.
Mm-hmm.
So, is this one that we've like damaged at all, or is this like the one that was left so far without being
Yeah.
hurt?
That was the fresh one. They just seemed
Okay.
stunned, and Havelock decided opportunism was a good idea.
Sure. As it's okay, so cool. So
Good night, Moogle
Night,
Sue is an
Moogle Sue.
amazing name. Yes.
she's
Rest
amazing.
well.
Amazing like craft maker as well. They were doing stream the other day where they their dad's a fan of Sound of Musical.
Oh, cool.
Sound of Music. So they were painting the wrapping paper with all the highlights in those lyrics. It's like whiskers on kittens and raindrops and roses and all that. Really,
Mm.
really cool.
Yeah, rest well.
Yeah. Okay. So,
Mm-hmm.
if I'm focusing on the one on the floor, am I going to notice what Havelock is doing? Is my question. Probably not. Or am I? What do we think?
All
Oh
right.
wait, it starts screaming.
Yeah, this thing is
I
just
imagine that's
shrieking in
fairly
agony.
noticeable.
That's
Yeah.
fairly noticeable. Okay, so yeah, so looking up to see it screaming, instinctively, click the knife and aim for its mouth.
Yes. Hello, Hive.
And cool. So yeah, how many am I? Rolling?
Let's see. This thing is very distracted. Yeah. Do 3d6 works. Yeah, 3d6 take the best.
3d6.
Yeah. Specifically because of what Havelock did to this thing. Okay. Yeah, and you're aiming for its mouth. Great. So, knife just right through their mouth, like right through their mouth, in through
Okay.
like open screen, just out the back of the throat. Clearly.
Well,
Oh.
it hits. So if it hits him in the mouth,
Yeah.
it just kind of like. So you see it go in.
Yeah.
Later,
Oh no.
you could swear that like holes just appear in the side of its face, and essentially the knife locks itself in place, and the noise of the scream stops dead.
Okay. Oh.
So one way to solve the problem is to nail the door shut.
That's yeah.
That is very much.
That'd do it.
It's called the deadbolt.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So and now
Is it still alive? Or is it still up and about?
up and about. Like this thing is on the ground, just writhing now. And
Okay,
it's
cool.
it's tearing at the wound that Havelock gave it, and you see it like the glowing is persisting, and it seems to be
Mhm.
Picture like You know how like you set something on fire and the edges will glow as it burns
Mm.
away? It's a
Yeah.
little like that.
Okay, if it's still about by the time it comes back to my turn, let me know.
God, someone finish this poor thing off. Oh my god.
If free actions are a thing or something similar, I'll like tell you what I'm gonna do next to it.
Oh no, it's fine. This is I wanna watch this unfold. Alright, Whackbat,
Okay,
your
okay, okay.
turn.
The one on the floor that just attempted to dance with me.
Yep, that poor creature.
I'm going to put a foot on its back and wind up for a big old golf swing. I must clarify, this is not an actual golf swing. I have never played golf in my life. That is a Scottish sport.
Of course.
But the principle is the same.
Yo.
I'm being called out here, but I'm not sure.
All right.
So if you
okay.
are to speak to me, you must use the King's English. Neither the time nor the place, Spencer.
Sorry,
All
I've
right.
derailed this enough.
Oh, that's
No, you're
that's
fine.
amazing. Fuck. Okay. Anyway, yeah. So this thing, yeah, this thing is just insensate with like what you're left to assume is just pure agony. This is it is prone. It is just clawing at its own wounds. It's bad. So like yeah, 3d6 and take the best.
Very good. That's a 6.
Oh fucking okay. Like
Oh, yeah.
whatever you want to happen probably happens, and I'm low key hoping it's take its head off like a golf club with it, like a
I
golf
mean, if
swing.
this is the one with my blade in its mouth, then it's pretty much lit up like a disco ball.
Yeah, yeah, it's that one.
Well,
Oh god, I gotta get
I'd
ready.
like to measure the distance that I get.
Oh god.
Sort of like as I finish the swing, I'll hold my thumb out and sort of do a quick eyeball.
Mhm.
21 meters.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Oh, this is spectacular. Fuck. Okay. All right. So, all right. There's still the one left, and it is continuing its one-legged wiggle across
Yeah.
the floor towards
to-
Jameson.
Yeah. Where did the head end up?
I want to say the head ended up a bit of a distance away, nothing too terrible.
Okay.
It lands on top of one of the bookshelves.
Okay. How far away am I from it?
21 meters, if I recall.
Oh, like literally 21 meters from me. Okay. Cool. I just did. Okay.
Seems to have
So,
landed in hazard.
yeah. So,
Yep.
so there's only one of them left,
Yes.
basically.
Yes.
Okay. In that case, how quick is it on the floor?
Quick enough. You've got like maybe a second or two before this thing is on you
Okay.
one way or another.
In that case, if I can move around it, I'm going to take a wide berth
Mhm.
and like move around it and then towards the head on the shelf.
Okay. All right, if you're just trying to move around this thing, you've got some space to work with. It's not
Okay.
the library
Actually-
is pretty well laid
Actually,
out.
no. Change that.
Okay.
Fuck it, yeah. So
Mhm.
it like leaning down very quickly, like
Yeah.
and there's a noticeable sound.
Mhm.
The boot, and with the
Oh.
additional pressure, what I've done is basically tapped it so it now has a reverberates titanium. Like just tried to smash the skull of this thing with my boot.
Valid. All right. So yeah. So you just giving it them good steppies then. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah. Yeah, this thing is clamoring, but it's clamoring towards you, so it's not
Mhm.
moving in any unpredictable way. And
Yeah.
you're 2d6 take the best. I mean, it's still a squirming thing on the ground you're trying to stomp on.
Okay. Sure. I think that, yeah, that's very fair of you. Thank you. Oh, okay.
All right.
Uh,
So,
mm,
no but. So, you do not successfully stomp on its head.
mm,
However, you do make a splashy mess of its neck and torso.
yeah.
You overshoot the target a little bit,
Yeah.
but that's okay.
Sort of bring it down, and as I do, it lunges forward a slightly. So it's
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
crap.
You've gone and made a mess of your boots, but you know.
Really nice fucking boots as well. Jesus.
Are
Okay,
your
yeah.
shoes washable?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they will be by the end of this. I swear that.
Yup. All right.
Okay.
So yeah, it's not the end. It's not a particularly quick end, and its head is still trying to for a couple brief moments, the head is still trying to like bite at things. The arms seem to still be wiggling for a little bit,
Mhm.
and then it all just kind of runs out of steam and just
Yeah.
starts getting. The book itself was on one of the legs, not the one you cut off, and the anything that's still attached to the book just starts getting absorbed in, and the rest just. You've I don't know if you've seen flesh decay before.
I've seen
I-
I've seen things decay before. Yeah.
It's like the rest of it, the flesh just seems to decay in like very quick, almost time lapse of it.
Mm.
Oh, that's a question.
It's kind of what we would describe as kind of a book thrall, or like a like a creature that's like fused with books and like body matter and things. is
yeah.
what you sort of said.
Yep. It's basically they look like typical people, except there are just books. Like opened books like fused to parts of their bodies, and it like melds seamlessly with their flesh, and they this is a library full of very independent books. So you know, things don't always go to plan, and you know, some people don't take the warnings seriously and get enthralled by books, and that's their life now. And
Yeah.
you've just spared these poor souls eternity wandering the Nebulous collection.
So as I see the
Mhm.
the it's starting to just disappear into the matter,
Mhm.
and so that I'm not. That's a thing that it's going to do, and like very quickly, like just damp the boots so as much comes off, and then
Yep.
like return it, and then start to make my way towards the head that remains.
The head that remains has a book fused to it, and it's being very quickly absorbed by the book.
Oh, in that case, as I head there, there's a sudden.
Yep.
I go, oh shit, and drop, and the head explodes.
Oh, fuck! And,
Because the second half is that I draw the knife back, and in doing so, the object it's held in explodes.
Oh boy!
So yeah, so if it's getting absorbed, it triggers the effect, and the head just
Shit.
splatters. And the
Ah.
only warning system I get is the knife going "Oh,
Click.
shit, and then drop to the floor.
Havelock, upon seeing you drop, is probably still like what, and like tries to drop quickly and isn't quite
Yeah.
quick enough.
Like it is 21 meters from us, but it's still like
Yeah.
going to hit the fucking deck.
It's It's just a lot of bone shrapnel. It's just a lot of bone shrapnel.
Yeah.
You definitely like everyone comes away with like a couple of like scrapes or cuts or scratches, and you really want to get those disinfected.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
this I've got a basic like med kit, so it's kind of like
mhm.
I'll take a couple of like I'll take the time to look over everybody, starting with myself, and like remove the shrapnel wounds and like
Yep.
and do to the others and ask Havelock, not Whackbat, to check my back to make sure that
Yep.
it's all removed.
Um,
Because I trust their touch versus Whackbat.
Havelock, like, yeah, Havelock very gently, just is like checking you over and making sure, and they do remove a couple of like errant chips of bone here and there.
Okay.
And they're as precise and gentle as they can be. They're no trained
fine.
surgeon, but they're doing their best.
Yeah, no, this is like I just need someone who knows how to use a pair of tweezers that won't take off my arm, and that's Havelock.
And you know, Havelock also offers to see to Whackbat, and for their own part, like Havelock's just looking at these wounds, and they're not going away, but you do see like they're digging like the bone pieces out of themselves, and like their wounds don't heal or go away, but they do stop bleeding a bit,
Yeah.
and they just look painful. Havelock is just like Havelock looks uncomfortable.
Yeah. Are you okay, Havelock?
Eh, I've had worse. It's not as bad as getting shot in the head. I literally cannot bleed to death. I will be fine. I just need to see the doctor after this. They'll patch me right up.
Nothing wakes you up like a good scrap.
I'm glad you still had fun, Whackbat.
There's apologies. I did not realize that consumption by the library was a thing that would happen to these individuals. I didn't realize it sort of mirrored a little bit of your own. Had I known, I
Well-
would not have used that particular selection from my arsenal.
It's fine. It's like it's okay. Like we're fine. We're okay. We're all still alive.
I just watch a little blood go from his nose as he says, "We're all fine."
We're all okay. Havelock just snot rockets some blood out of their nose.
Ooh,
We're
That's
fine.
probably the worst thing you've said tonight.
Yup.
Yeah, so I guess we follow on Havelock's lead on this, like going round.
Yep. And Havelock just rechecks their sidearm, takes the magazine out, puts a new one in, and as you're looking at the bullets, all of them are engraved. Like all of them have clearly been specifically prepared for what they do.
Are they engravings of a name or engravings of just like an insignia, or is it?
It's a lot of like sigils, for lack of a better word.
Mhm.
Like there's like the casings have like a specific geometric pattern on them. The bullets themselves have like specific marks on them, and like the tips of the bullets, instead of being lead, are god damn it, Waspy. Fuck. Anyway. Oh, the tips of the bullets seem to be made out of like some sort of like different colored material. And they seem to sort of glow a little. And Havelock's just changes the magazine. There's already a bullet in the chamber from the last time. And they just holster the weapon again. They're like, that. They normally only rove in packs of 3 or 4. The most I've ever seen in one place was 5. It'll clear right up there. That should be it for a while. Let's. I love you, Wasdby.
I don't. No, I do. Wasp is just so lovely.
All right. So, beyond that, yeah, it should be everything, really. Like that was a pretty good combat.
Okay.
And let's see. Yeah, you managed to make your way to your destination with no real further incidents.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we have the cards that will point us towards where they are.
That is correct.
Okay, dokie. Where like our
Yes, I have all of
Fine.
the. Yes, Hive. I've got all of the
Oh.
previous VODs.
So what do we see when we get to where we're going? When we get to where we need to head to?
Oh, yeah. You see, at the end of all of this, after all of these, like, increasingly dangerous looking shelves, like, the farthest you've gone into the library before is, like, a lot of the books are chained up in individual spaces and there's, like, conductive material around them, and it's just, they spark and arc now and then, and the books are, like, clearly fighting their bindings. By the end of this, you're in places where, like, you see, there are literally, like, entire shelves are just dedicated to one book, and all of it is just warding material surrounding this, like, heavily shaded, like, these things are, like, fucking just
The whole
so...
like crystal lattice or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, like, one of them is held in place
Arcade.
by, like, a crystal lattice, another one is held together by, like, there's, like, specifically, I don't know, like, yes, there are specifically spears of this unknown material just pinning this book to the shelf from all directions.
Jesus.
Like, this is the deepest you've ever gone, and at the very end of it is the most boring filing cabinet you've ever seen in your life. And Havelock is glaring death at this fucking thing.
Like I did not realize the terrors that lay before us.
Yeah, it's a time. I've made more than a couple journeys in here. Whatever sadistic bastard decided to put this filing cabinet here. I moved it, you know. I've moved it several times out of here, and no, it just apparates here again. Apparates, apropos of nothing, here. There is no escape. This is my life now. Anyway.
Indeed.
It's a pretty boring, I'll say it's a 4. Yeah, it's a 4 story. It's one of those ones with like 4 sets and this tall filing cabinet drawer. And
does it have a can you discern if it's from IKEA?
Hold on. We're rolling dice for this. That's a good question. My god, it's from IKEA!
No, end the session. We can't deal with it.
Alright, so...
Is it not like a IKEA furniture name generator?
God, I hope so.
A name generator.
Yes.
Oh,
What
no,
shall we
it's-
call
Is
it?
it a Lustfang?
It doesn't oh no,
Oh.
somebody like it's like not worked, annoyingly.
Oh, shame.
It's annoying.
All right.
I suggest
can-
Lustfang.
You know what? It's the Lustvang now. Yep.
Ah!
Perfect.
It's got one of those little safety button pegs thing that secure it to the wall, otherwise it'll fall on you.
Of course.
Yep, of course. And so it yeah. All right. So yeah, opening the you go to it and open it. Its drawers reach improbably far out. Like as with everything else in this fucking place, nothing physics is a suggestion, and these drawers are much longer than the cabinet should allow. And Havelock's like digging around through there, like clearly looking through like the system in an organized way. And once the drawers reach like 10 or 15 feet, like it is comically far out, and this thing is just not tipping over. Finally, they find what they're looking for, and they're like, ah! And they pull out a manila fucking envelope.
S.
And the only that has the and just embossed on the vanilla envelope is like the symbol of the Nebulous collection, and that's it. Just
Yeah,
like the
yeah.
logo of the collection. And just
Perfect.
like starts the long process of closing the fucking drawer. But yeah, it does
Oh,
find the
I love it.
files you're looking for.
Yeah.
And just hands them to you, looking a bit smug. Rather sad than is like, secret files?
Mm-hmm.
Alright. So, let's go find somewhere comfy to read those, shall we?
Indeed.
To best describe the... I'm trying to think of the best way to describe the wounds Havelock has. You ever watch Trigun?
Yes.
Yes.
You remember how, like, Vash's body just occasionally looked like somebody used a melon baller to scrape out parts, but it was otherwise completely
Mhm.
fine?
Yeah.
Parts held together with like mesh and chicken wire and bolts
Yeah.
and things like that.
Yeah. Havelock isn't held together with any of that nonsense, but, like, the new wounds that they have they just kind of look like that. Like, you could just... They might just have, like, a puncture through them, and it's just... You can just see through it.
Interesting.
It's not bleeding.
Okay.
It just hurt. It just clearly pains them.
So you're cheese grated basically at this point.
Mhm.
With a couple like not to the same extent, but that's kind of what it's like.
That's how getting wounds works for Havelock. Wounds don't, like...
Yeah.
You have to manually close up the wounds, or, like, you don't know how the doctor manages if there's flesh missing, but Havelock's body is
So-
otherwise fine and doesn't have
Yeah,
any
so it's
scars,
like
really.
If you shone a torch on Havelock, there would be like pinpricks of light that go through to the other side.
Right now, yes. Not normally. Like, this is not a permanent state of being for them. It's just
No,
when
this
they're
is
wounded.
just what we're getting the impression. Yeah, it's like
You're
Yeah.
essentially person-shaped cookie dough.
Sort of. Yeah. Havelock doesn't really bleed much anymore.
Cookie dough.
Yes.
That or into some very extreme body modification.
Who knows? Yeah, I don't mind. I mean, we can get to the contents of this if you had something specific in mind.
It's really just all they're looking for is either like a name, or really just details on like essentially like getting details on the Albion artifact that was it the incident at the bazaar that was responsible for this this Albion artifact was used, and kind of just to shed light on kind
Yep.
of like what exactly happened and the coordinates for where it happened.
Okay.
And
Oh,
they can be as like
Yep.
like matter of fact and brief as they want, or they can be as sprawling and like
grave
elaborate.
tidings. So you're reading through one of the files, and you see, like, before pictures of like this bustling center of like commerce. It's like looks like a giant open air market. People are haggling over goods, like all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
And then the after is just like a field of fucking glass.
Yeah.
It's
Take a look and be yeah.
It's
Sort of
bad.
show them as like there was approximately show it to the others. There was approximately 5,000 people in this square.
And laying squarely in the center of the in the epicenter of the whole thing is one of those crystals now.
Yep.
Mhm.
Havelock's like, oh, that'd do it.
Mm.
Okay, so someone kicked off the ritual to make one. It doesn't tell us much about how they're used beyond as a weapon.
Mm.
Making one is a weapon, but could they be used to fuel another equally horrifying weapon?
I feel like we might be able to find. This is where it happened. This is where one of them was created.
Couldn't hurt to check it out sometime.
Hmm.
Sooner
My
than later,
worry
I
is
imagine.
that it became
Hmm?
that not only was it the place where one of them was created, they followed up with an experiment of its use.
That is deeply concerning.
With these coordinates, we can have someone go, or we can go ourselves at some point if we need to go. If we need to be two places at once.
All right. Well, I need to go and see about some stitches, and then breakfast. But I am eager to go. That might be it'll be interesting if nothing else. And
I'll keep reading.
knowledge is power.
I'll keep reading. If I come across anything.
Right. Well, I need to get my wounds patched as well.
Well, see if I can't get in touch with the doctor.
Indeed.
All
It
right.
would be the first time they patched me up.
Same.
Look about and the Spencer has disappeared.
Ah.
As they do.
As they do. All right. Yeah, I don't mind calling it here, if that works for everyone.
I think it's
a
natural place there. Yeah.
This is honestly getting easier and easier for me, which I like.
Oh, that's all. Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
I'm having fun expanding them as we go and kind of like.
Oh yeah.
Working out how things work as well. Like
for another light session that was just a lot of lore stuff. This was really fun.
Yeah, I didn't expect when I started to like go in the kind of direction that I am with the acquirer, but I'm really enjoying kind of the skill set that.
Oh, I like it. I like it quite a bit. They have a very interesting power set, which we should discuss in a bit more detail at some point because I quite like it.
For sure.
Yes, I'm having fun also being like, what can't they do? Like when we had this moment earlier, I'm like, well, what feasibly can they versus what they can't do kind of thing? Because I don't want him to be like freaking like a Goku or something where it's just like,
oh god,
you throw out a problem and they can beat the kind of thing.
Like, well, the biggest thing about this is like, no matter how powerful, like, Havelock has some incredible stuff they can do, as do all of the characters. We're still throwing dice. There's always a chance that things will go wrong. And like
absolutely, we had a long string of ones there that played into a very precarious
position. That was funny. I am so glad you kind of like knowing how the knife was going to work, and then he said, "Yeah, it's molding into the book." Oh no!
No, I need that.
No, it's gonna come. So as it comes back, yeah, it's molding the book. Ah, shit.
But yeah, that's that is that. I had great fun.
Yeah.
One day will oh right, housekeeping, future thing. Yes. I don't know, just FYI for viewers, I don't know if we're going to continue to do this on Sundays at I don't know if we're going to continue to use this time slot
maybe
or
a shift in the schedule soon.
Yep.
Yes.
We're trying to, since now that things have opened up a little more, we're going to see if there's a day that works better for everyone.
Yeah.
And we're just going to kind of play it by ear. And beyond that, I want to start regularly streaming games once or twice a week, maybe.
That would be nice. Anyone who listens to my stuff on even a semi-regular basis, like I will, as soon as we know, I'll be talking about them and mention when it happens and stuff. So you can always find out from my channel as well when things are happening.
I'm also just bad at PR. So thank you, Arcrat, for being good at that.
My friends, so I'm always happy to do it. You a gamer, no way. Get out, kitty.
All right.
A friend to raid.
Let's see. What's going on online right now? I've got. Oh, Lottie's on. Why don't we raid Lottie?
Sounds lovely.
Go for it.
Okay. So, that is
Nice.
slash raid space lot. All right, I gotta. uh,
You can use the if you go to if you click on your avatar and you go to the you've got the option to select the raid option there. It's much more of a visual tool.
oh, that does sound nice.
Or
Channel.
yeah, if you do slash raid and then it's LOTTS
LOTTS
OF.
OF LOTTIE.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so we're gonna go raid lots of Lottie because Lottie's great.
Yes.
They have been delightful the last few days we've been interacting. So here
They were very
go.
helpful with a couple of things.
Mhm.
Anyone who didn't know or anyone who saw my channel, I was talking about how like Twitch payments and things went, and I misspoke because I misunderstood how subscriptions worked. I think I've covered that with everybody, but basically the subscriptions are retained. I thought they weren't. This is a misunderstanding on how things. I will be doing like a full like correction tomorrow. I just wanted to say really sorry because I know some people got really upset during that, and I'm really sorry for upsetting anybody.
All right.
Says thanks for the stream.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna
Thank you
type a
very
response
much.
because I didn't want to interrupt you. But yeah, you were absolutely welcome. I love doing this.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so off to Lottie's. Have a great night, everyone.
Yay!
Take care, everyone.
Lovely, and we're at Lottie's.
All right, and that's gonna be a stream